All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Mac Yak. So, as you can see, we got a full house tonight.
Yep.
We do have, if you notice, Bruce is back with us again. However, he is now a permanent member, just like Steve became one after we couldn't get rid of him, you know?
Yep.
So congratulations, Bruce.
That goes to show you nag us long enough. We'll let you. We'll accept anyone.
And tonight's special guest star is Justin Morgan. Justin's been a big fan of mine and of the channel, and he's also my biggest patron, and a very great guy. In fact, his family's from my hometown area, which is pretty neat. And I just randomly thought, hey, I think it's about time we have you on as a member, a guest anyway.
Already making a member.
Yeah, let's start making him a member.
Speeding things up now.
So anyway, welcome, Justin. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Justin Morgan. I currently reside in Charlottesville, but as Greg said, I am from his hometown area. And in fact, I'm not sure he's realized I actually went to college in his hometown area at the big college called Concord.
Concord.
The only Concord I know is of Echoes. Who's, you know why? Because now Justin's thing showed up, so that's why there was an echo.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Every time we get somebody new, that's what happens.
Oh, did you fix it?
Yeah, it's fixed.
All right, we should
Nobody
be
knew
right now.
I'm a test engineer. I break everything. Discord links, audio, computers, you name it.
You'll fit right in.
All right.
So, does anyone recognize the background we have going on tonight?
Oh, I do.
That comes
After dark.
Yeah, after dark.
That's what I was going to say. I recognize the flying toasters.
That old Mac
we
there
still have toasters.
And the fish tank. Tough time displaying some of those modules.
Should have put some more stuff in the middle right there, you know. But
oh, you could just put things over it in OBS right now on the fly. Go.
Yeah. I don't feel like doing that, so we're not going to do that. Jay's wife makes the backgrounds, and I just go with it.
Yes, I enlisted her a few weeks ago to make a holiday background, I think it was. And since then, I have lost control of the background creation. She now does it every week.
Hey, there we go.
So, and I have no say in it whatsoever. I just tell her how many squares to make available, and that's it. That's all I got. So.
But we are proving that we could do at least 8 with Skype, no problem. So that's a good thing.
It's more than we pulled off with FaceTime.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, FaceTime we'd only have 4, and they'd be just floating all over the place. So
yeah,
I had no control over where they were at, when they showed up, or anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice though, because if I didn't want to be on camera for a second, I'd just shut up and I would fade into the background, like, put my nose and do whatever. Not anymore.
All right, guys. Tonight's episode number 54. So we're getting pretty high up on there. I think
almost
we
as
hit.
old as you.
Yeah. Well, actually, it is older than me now. Last week was as old as I am. So hey. All right. So watch it.
I have a quick question for Justin.
Sure.
Are you really a fan of Greg's?
Really? Yeah.
He didn't pay you to say that?
No, he did not.
You're not here under duress?
Wait,
Nope.
blink it. Oh, he's blinking his eyes. Look at him. He's blinking. He's blinking in Morse code. Help me.
Tried to get the chat. Save me. All right, just checking.
Oh, yeah. Some of the other things we've had going on this week. I guess Steve did something just recently, didn't you, Steve?
Oh, God.
I didn't do anything. No.
Well, this is a great one.
8 hours of my life on the back.
I didn't watch any of it yet, so that's the reason why I'm asking this, because according to the notes, you did.
Alert. If you want to go watch it, cover your ears until I stop talking. But yeah, so I ordered some capacitors. I was inspired by Bruce over here, and ordered some capacitors to recap my Macs because, they are in bad need of recapping a lot of the machines I have. They're of that vintage, as Bruce likes to say. So I thought I'd be brave and I'd order some capacitors. And my very first episode on my Mac 84 YouTube channel was me trying to recap a Mac 2CX. So I'm like, okay, let me try to do again with some of this knowledge. Well, my soldering iron was not the best. The on-off-off, which I figured out probably 6 hours into the stream. I did have, so that was okay. I still have a little bit of a cold. It's going away, but yesterday it was even worse. So I'm like deranged. I'm sick. I'm in my pajamas. Like I'm just sitting at this desk, just working on this board, being like, all right, a little more.
Breathing in those toxic fumes, huh?
Yes, some of it was breathing in toxic fumes, and some of it was doing some tests on this dead board here. So eventually I got out an LC3 Plus, which is right here, and started going to work on it. And it's not the most beautiful Macintosh at all, by any stretch of the imagination. It certainly looks like it has been abused, and it was not working before. And
I watched it being abused.
I think Day is, yes. I think if you guys have a clip lined up, I'll introduce it. But after about 8 hours and 16 minutes or so, me tinkering around, and everyone being so nice and giving me advice and telling me not to give up and such, something happened.
Broke out the bomb.
I can roll this tape here in a second. Hold on, let me get it set up here. But go ahead, keep talking though.
We weren't being nice when we told you not to give up. We were hoping you were going to give up and we could all get back to our evenings. But
It took you what, like 8 hours and 15 minutes before the end result ever happened?
Well, there was a break in there, and then I was testing things, and so it wasn't 8 hours straight on the one exact.
All right, let me know when you're ready. I could play it. All right, here it goes.
Oh, let's just get it over with. I've been disappointed plenty. Place your bets, folks. Holy crap! It freaking chimed! Oh my god! Holy shit! Guys! It's such a crap job, and it worked! Oh man! It bonged! I'm getting a freaking monitor, hold on. I catch my breath here. Holy crap! I butchered this thing and it worked! Oh my god! yeah, I'm gonna put this thing in super glue and resin. Holy crap! Oh yeah, I'm gonna turn it off so I can plug a monitor into this, cause whew. Yeah, if it works. It bonged! It bonged! It bonged!
Oh boy, yeah. So I got it to work, and I was not expecting it to work at all. Thus, my excitement. I think I said in there, I even after I butchered it, it still worked or something like that. The amount of falling off. I'm sorry, the amount of pads that were just falling off the board.
In your defense, Steve, that computer was giving up pads like there's no tomorrow. It was quite incredible.
I was putting some solder on the pad to put a cap on it, and there was a little too much solder. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take some of that off. So I go and get the wick, and as soon as I'm about to put the wick over it, I must have breathed or something, and the pad just goes, whoop, it just moves, and I'm like, oh, come on.
How hot was your iron?
Okay. I posed a question in the chat here. Who did it better, Steve or Grudy? For it bonged.
Definitely Steve.
Well, there was an 8-hour build-up to mine.
Yeah.
Steve had that delirious.
That's right. There was definitely delirium going on with Steve.
Yes. It was cold medicine being up for too long. It was about probably 2 a.m. So there was a lot of factors going on there. But yeah, that was enjoyable.
It looks like Steve is getting the votes, so it looks like, Steve, yours is better than Grudy's now.
Sorry, Grudy, you lost control of your own lead there.
He was hitting the bong before the bong.
Yes, it chimed, and then it eeped. So there you go.
I was close in my prediction. I predicted that if it powered on, you would squeal like a pig, do a happy dance, pee yourself, and then crash on the floor and fall asleep.
Well, he actually did all of those probably. So
I did those, but just not in that exact.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You peed yourself?
Well, not that exact fashion. No, there was a bathroom involved. But I don't know how you think, Rudy.
Well, he did say "holy shit," when he.
Yeah, I got very excited. But
Very
yeah, so
excited.
that's what I've been up to, and since then, the good folks at MacYac, my pals here, have suggested a new soldering iron, which should come in a few days. So then I will continue the recapping madness.
Yeah.
But at least you'll
No,
use
you
yours,
were-
unlike
You were the
Grudy.
only one that was excited. We were all excited we could finally go to bed.
Yeah.
You were probably the most excited.
Oh, I was very excited. Yeah, and I got scared because after it booted up for the first time, I plugged in video and it was fine, but I plugged in the SCSI 2SD adapter and it was like just hanging there, and I'm like, with my luck, the capacitor by the SCSI port would be the one that doesn't work or whatever. But no, it eventually worked. It just didn't like the disc I had in there. So so just a PSA: if you have these old Macs, you got to recap them and remove that PRAM battery. So. If you learn anything from my misfortune.
Now, you mentioned SCSI 2SD, and I think Bruce might have something to say about that product as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So I actually just heard today from Inertial Computing, who are the sort of primary reseller for SCSI 2SD, that they will be releasing the SCSI 2SD utility shortly as an actual, self-contained app. At the moment, it's sort of you fire it up and it loads into terminal. It has a graphic user interface, but it's a little bit clunky. But that's going to be released with the intention of it being available in the App Store and everything. So for SCSI 2SD users, that should be a big plus.
Neat.
And
Yeah, 'cause I
what
think
does
now
the
there's
app
a
do?
utility and then there's a firmware. There's like two things, right, Bruce?
Yeah, so the utility will, has the ability to do firmware updates. So, you'll be able to download the firmware file and do the firmware updates with the SCSI 2SD utility. There is another tool, I can't remember what it does, but the utility is the only one that I've used. So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's that. That's that news.
Yeah, I don't use any myself because I don't have any SCSI machines, but I hear you and Steve talk about them often. So.
Yeah, I have
Trying to
zillions
find
of them.
mine. That's why I'm off camera.
We should invite him on. We should invite him on a MacYac. See what they have to say.
Yeah, that'd be neat.
And
I'm curious if they. I have to email them again if they fixed a bug in the version 6 of the adapter where it does not like older older SD cards that are like a gig or 2 gigs, which I just had boatloads of because after I stopped using those small cameras, I just got rid of the cards. But they work great on the version 5, which is perfect because I have like a 512 meg card that would be useless, but that's a perfect disc for in Macintosh LC or something. So just keep that in mind.
Having said
Having
said that, of course, the version 6 is not the best choice of SCSI 2SD for those old Macs because one of the main advantages it brings is synchronous transfer, which none of the old Macs can take advantage of. So you're essentially sort of paying for a feature that you can't take advantage of on those old Macs. So
Would that be something to the version 6? Would that be something that would work well on say a G3?
That's a good question. I don't know. That starts to move out of my sort of. I mean, if you're talking about like a beige G3, I'm not even sure that they had synchronous transfer. I'd need to double check that. But
the blue and whites had that option card.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure that
I
everyone
had
does
the
have.
beige G3 came out. Dusty was on his way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to test that out, so that's why I got one. It's only not too big of a price difference from the version 5. I do like the version 5 because you can solder on your own DB25 connector, but
that's the 5.1.
yeah, so I'll be playing around.
That's the 5.1.
Oh yes, 5.1
yeah.
rather. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, when it comes to the later Macs that are all using IDE, people are generally going for the IDE adapters because they are so much cheaper than the SCSI 2SD.
Yeah.
SCSI 2SD is generally just for the guys that are kind of stuck with SCSI and nothing else. So
yeah.
While you guys are talking, my old logo design is being slammed in the chat.
I didn't slam it.
It was a crappy logo.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
I like it. It's cute.
It was cute, but it just did not fit in for us.
Haters.
Okay.
But Wendy did actually design our logo too, so we got to give her credit for that.
Yes, thank you, Wendy.
It's a great logo.
All right.
It was professionally designed.
So, we're going to probably be running way long tonight, so let's go ahead and get into topic 1 here. And this is Justin's suggestion here is times we have failed doing upgrades. So I'm going to throw it over to Justin for this topic.
All right. I have 2 wonderful fails for you. And by wonderful, I mean not wonderful. In fact, one of them deals with a Firewire 800, much like the one behind me. And the other one deals with the G5 I used to own. So we'll start with the Firewire 800. As I said, I'd bought one. It was the first Mac I ever bought brand new. It has 2 optical drive bays, and I believe I was trying to install a second optical drive. So for those of you that don't know the design, you open the case, you've got the motherboard on the door, you've got the screw holding in the optical drive bay that you have to convey over top the motherboard to get it out.
You dropped it, didn't you?
I dropped it.
Okay.
And you had the
I
machine
dropped
running?
it right on some nice traces coming from that big chip there on the top. And the computer no longer recognized anything USB after that. And
Oy.
yeah, this was
Ouch.
probably 2 months after I bought it, so it's under care. Yeah.
They do say. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's just say that I luckily was able to find out from Apple that if I paid to have it repaired, my warranty would still be valid. So that was interestingly enough, it only cost me like $350 for the motherboard.
That's cheap.
That's really cheap.
I know. I don't know how. I was not expecting it to be that cheap. Even
right now, that money doesn't even get you wheels for your new Mac Pro.
I know.
Wow. That's crazy.
I wouldn't want to fail like that on the new Mac Pro. It'd probably cost you at least $6,000 to replace the motherboard.
Yeah, probably.
It costs $6,000.
That's
But
nuts.
my other fail, and I don't know that it was necessarily my fault. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it was about 2000. I think it was 2005. I bought a refurb 2004 G5. It was a middle of the tier. It was when they did not include an airport card in the case. So I bought the user installable airport card, went to go put it in the case, got the card in, got to the antenna, and I don't know what happened, but the part of the antenna cable that holds it on just fell right off when I snapped it on the airport card. So I had to haul that G5 to Richmond, which is our closest Apple store. I think there's luckily in town, a provider now. But it was covered under Apple Care, fortunately. So they had to completely disassemble the entire G5 to replace the airport cable and then put everything back in. I don't know what I remember getting an invoice and it had charges, but it was a no charge for me because it was covered.
Wow.
Lucky.
I'm surprised
So
they covered it.
I had the computer for 3 weeks, and then it started kernel panicking like every time I tried to do something. So back to the Apple Store, and apparently something happened when they reinstalled the processors, and Apple had to replace the motherboard and processors. And long story short, that repair was unsuccessful because I had it for about 2 weeks. Had to take it back for the same thing. So Apple ended up putting another motherboard and processor in it.
Yeesh.
I think that one actually lasted for about 4 weeks before it happened again. And luckily, probably the one reason I'm still an Apple user is Apple Care stepped in and said, all right, dude, you've had it in for service too many times. We're going to send you a brand new G5. Because in the, 12 weeks I had the G5, I had it in my possession for, seems like no more than half that time.
Yeah, back then that was still a policy.
So in that case, that upgrade fail was on Apple. I don't want to know how much they ultimately sunk into that G5 that...
Yeah.
Just because there was something wrong with the airport cable in the computer, that it just fell apart when I went to snap the connector on.
Well, they weren't the best design products, in my opinion, but they should be able to withstand more than that.
I know. Yeah, exactly. If it's a customer installable part, you should be able to install it the first time. Hopefully a couple times, actually. The connector shouldn't just fall apart when you go to install it the first time.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
But yeah, we'll just say that I hold the G5 in very low regards.
Me too.
That was
Depends
actually
on the
the
model.
only Apple product I've ever bought and completely regretted it.
What would you have
G5
bought?
is one of my favorites.
We had an episode not too long ago about lemons, like designs that Apple messed up, and this would have been a good story for that one.
Unfortunately, I missed that one.
So, who wants to go next?
Well, I guess I can go before I'm too loopy to think about it. Yeah, guys, I have a migraine, so I'm not all here. Then again, am I ever really here? But yeah, I've done many upgrades in the past. I can't think of any of them right offhand that I have a good detailed story about. But I've tried to upgrade my G4 Cube, and I've gone through 3 logic boards doing that.
Dude, you've probably got you probably would take about 10 hours just to talk about all your upgrade failures.
Yeah, probably.
So
Don't you have a YouTube list dedicated just to
yeah,
that?
why don't just
I should
all you gotta
probably
do
link them all together.
all you gotta do, Grudy, is say go watch my YouTube channel. That's where all my failures are.
See,
Dang,
explosions and everything. Yeah. One of my most memorable ones in the last year or so was trying to repair and upgrade my G4 Quicksilver with the dual 1 gigahertz card that Mike had given me, and a parts Quicksilver he gave me about a year and a half ago. And the power supply in it had some kind of short that sent a jolt through the whole logic board. You just saw this huge ball of sparkle just shoot off the side of the logic board. It was completely dead, like, after that. And then it went, and I blew up another Quicksilver about 5 minutes later trying to fix it.
That should warn you not to mess with Quicksilvers in it, right?
And the sad thing is the Quicksilver is still my favorite design for a tower.
Quicksilver is kind of like that board Greg was working on last night. You look at it wrong, it just falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah, they can be pretty unreliable, but they are beautiful machines.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything I've ever had a failure on. I mean, I've had stuff fail or break when I was doing something, but I've managed to fix it no problem. I mean, but I can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
Well, we got Matt's Tech. I tried to add a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to my 1,1. Long story short, it failed to boot, and I still don't have Bluetooth working.
Well, it ain't gonna. I don't think it's gonna work if it doesn't boot, right?
True. Nick apparently has some issues with his G5 Xserve. Still.
Again?
No, still.
Is that the one with the fans? Half the fans working, half not?
It's the one with the perfect power supply, but nothing else.
Yeah, the brand new, completely rebuilt power supply.
Sorry, Nick. All right, I guess I'll take the next one then. Let's see. Yeah, it's really all that comes to mind. I like to overclock things.
Oh, here we are.
I have amassed quite a stack of burnt out CPU cards for G4, including last count 4 Sonnet CPU upgrade cards. The most painful one being a dual 1.8 gigahertz that I overclocked to 2 gigahertz and then tried to push it some more.
Ouch.
That didn't go very well.
Was not worth it, was it?
It was.
Well,
it was a
you
fun
fixed it.
experiment.
Eventually.
Yeah, I did. Now I'm afraid to use it.
What about the one that you've overclocked that got slower?
I think that was one of Rudy's.
Yeah, it was my old Quicksilver card.
Yeah, see, I'm telling you, Quicksilver sucks. It doesn't even overclock.
He overclocked it to 1.07 and the score dropped like 200 points or something like that.
Yeah, it was stupid. That's it really. I mean, apart from that, over the years I've accidentally torn a cable when I'm doing a repair, or dropped my screwdriver, ripped off a capacitor. But,
yeah, I do that every once in a while.
The CPU cards are my biggest fails. Never send me a CPU card. Anyone watching, never send it to me.
I just sent you 2.
Yes.
And I'm about to send you 6.
You
seven,
all understand the
7 of
risk.
them.
Steve, you're not getting it back, usable. So
it wasn't usable when I sent it to him. So.
Oh, okay.
No, it's. I don't have them here. They're still downstairs next to the cleaner. But send me 2. Not to go too far off topic. 2 G5 CPU cards that were corroded to hell. But all the corrosion is in the sockets, and I tried to clean it several times. It's just not coming out. So
got some pretty looking paperweights.
True. Oh, I don't. You do. You're getting them back.
I mean, they may still work.
Hold on. Now that we're here.
No, let's not.
Most of that crap on the floor is yours, buddy. We still need to figure out shipping for all of it.
I'll just give you my credit card number and I'll pray. How about that?
Yeah. So, and how do people feel in Australia, Bruce?
I'll probably. Well, this is a kind of. I mean, it's a failure, but I didn't destroy anything. But I had I overclocked a Mac 2 SI, very old sort of vintage 68030, and I think it came out with a 20 megahertz, no 16, I can't remember, but a very slow chip, and they're relatively easy to overclock. Take them up to the same speed as like a 2CI by just replacing a little crystal. And I thought I'd be really clever and overclock it even more, and actually put a faster CPU in it.
Oh, no.
So it's quite a lot of little legs to solder around that thing there. But anyhow, took the old CPU off, put a faster CPU in there, put a faster crystal in there to increase the clock speed, and it didn't work. So I then had to change back to the old crystal and swap the CPUs back again. So I had to solder a 6803 CPU twice. So that was a lot of fun.
Well, you had to desolder twice too. So
yes,
but
that's right.
Did it work when you got it all back?
It did work when I got it all back. So that was something. So
that is impressive.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I started doing a YouTube video on it, and I mean, it was like so frustrating to, okay, and now we're going to, no, we're not.
Exactly. I just watched your 2CI video actually yesterday. So
the 2SI overclocking one.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
So I think
there was going to be a follow-up to that one.
Oh, okay. All right. Now we know.
Yes, that's right.
And we know how Rocky treats his keyboards, but how does he fail with hardware?
What are you talking about? I treat my keyboards well.
Dude, we have
dumping water on them.
I know.
We can run the meme right now.
Hey, that keyboard is still working. Don't even. But no, actually, I've had some close calls with like towers and things like that. My G4 when I was overclocking it, I had some close calls that was going to be dead. But it's fine. Actually, my failures and upgrades were with video cards because I was in a stint for a long time where I was doing a lot of, I was taking graphics cards. I'm still doing it. I've now amassed a stack, which by the way, Jay, there's a 6800 Ultra PCI Express that I would like to maybe have you redo all the caps on for me so I can actually see if I can flash it over to Mac and make it work.
Caps, that shouldn't be that hard to do. You can do it yourself.
I'll take 8 hours to do it.
I don't want to do it. These are nightmares.
Yes, just ask Steve. It's easy.
These are true caps. These are the surface mount with the little plastic on the bottom and the cap on the top. They're electrolytics.
Yeah, I did those with a really cheap, mildly working soldering iron on my
like me.
And how much did you bleed on it? Just saying.
I barely bled.
It's not a Rec Mods video unless there's blood involved.
That's the original topic.
That's why there's blood in the logo.
So, no, but there was a lot of cards that I had flashed, and now I'd recovered a few of them, and some others I murdered them by flashing them, or I had to do like a physical hardware modification to it, and I screwed it up and fried the card. That's mainly where my fails come in, but not so much on the CPUs, because my CPUs and stuff like that, I did that kind of testing on cheap Windows PCs, and I figured out how not to do that before I went and started messing with that on a Mac. I want to actually keep my Macs, you know.
By the way, Greg, Matt followed up. He says, it boots now, just that Bluetooth doesn't work. So. And Master Gecko said he once spent hours trying to overclock an iMac G3 to 700 megahertz. It's going to be a video, but he never succeeded. I don't have any iMacs.
Is that the same guy that did the black to white MacBook transplant?
No,
that was Zach.
Oh, okay. Schmeez,
Which,
okay.
by the way, Matt, hit me up on Discord. I'm Rocky on the Discord. So hit me up on there, and I can actually tell you the proper upgrade path to get you Bluetooth and AC Wi-Fi with an airport card from a 2013 or newer.
We covered that last week.
Yeah, you missed a show last week, Rocky.
I'm the one that figured out the process.
I'm the one that figured out the process.
I'm the one
wrote
that got the
everything
whole
up.
little channel. Show me your list on Facebook, man. I have the whole how-to guide
go
on there.
go watch our last show.
On my 3.1, I created it.
Because that would have been nice. Because then I wouldn't have done any work if I knew you'd already done it for me.
Yeah, he really doesn't like to work that much.
I did do it. I had it in the look. I had it in the group. Like
Children, calm down.
Mike, how about you, man? You've been quiet over there.
I don't really have any spectacular fails. Aside from trying to put the wrong RAM in my MacBook and still not being able to get a video card to work in my Pro, which I think is Jay's fault.
It's all Jay's fault.
For some reason, the only video card I can get to work in this stupid machine is my Radeon 4750. So I'm cruising along with a whole 512 megs of RAM, video RAM. Yeah, it's great.
Who needs
I
more
mean,
than
it
that?
still works, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it works fine.
Until you want to do something graphic intensive.
When you start running Final Cut Pro, it just really, 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 really slows down because you just don't have the extra processing power there. So I
Yeah,
have yet to
bring a
actually
card
get
over
a
here.
video card to work in any of my Mac Pros. That is probably the
that's
biggest
my fault
upgrade
too, is
fail.
it?
Yeah, it is.
Of course it is, Jay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
No,
when I see you
if you
next,
knew-
Mike, I'll bring a card and we'll try it out.
Yeah.
If
might
you
have
would
to
have
send
seen
you
that
my
Mac
team
Pro Mike currently has before I got to it, you're surprised it's going to be working at all.
It's a miracle at all. Yeah.
I think
That's
And
it.
it works beautiful. I have no problems with it. So for some reason, I can't seem to find a video card that wants to play nice with it. So, and me being cheap like I am, I don't want to go out and spend $399 on an RX 580, when I can buy a used one cheaper.
Yeah,
Right.
agreed.
Don't blame you.
So I'm still using this 4750 card I got from Greg like 2 years ago that he gave me for my original Mac Pro, my 1,1.
You're welcome.
So just still cooking away. It's like that's probably the most reliable thing to ever come out of Greg's house.
Hey,
I think I got a 5770 if you want it, Mike.
I do have a 5770 in my 1,1 down at work. It's a PC card, but it does work. Just doesn't have a boot screen, which I don't care about.
yeah, but those things are pretty easy to flash, according to Colin.
Yeah, the 5770s are
Yeah,
easy to
from
flash.
From what I understand, those seem to be one of the most easy to flash. And I still find the 5770s for sale all over the place.
Now,
People want like $100 for them.
I do have this card that actually is flashed now. It actually has the boot screen, so I actually did flash this for myself. And this is a RX 79 7970.
Oh,
Nice.
older one.
Huh?
Give you $10 for it.
No.
15.
Come on, let's get the bidding war here.
16.
I'll stick with my Team
1750.
Green 1066 gig.
They'll give you $30, but you have to deliver it.
Well, let's put it this way. This thing would still run iRacing, no problem at all.
Who cares? Does it run UT?
Yes, yes. In fact, I played UT with
It runs
it.
iRacing. That's a Windows product.
But I did play UT with this one when I did have Mojave on here, but now it's got Catalina. I can't play UT anymore, so on this machine.
You can play UT on a freaking on a X2600 for crying out loud. It is and that's like one of the absolute freaking worst ever Radeons ever freaking made.
Yes.
And it runs UT smooth as silk.
You can run it on a GT 120, and you know how crappy those cards are, too.
Yeah, that's the other one I was thinking of. That's right, yeah.
Well, there's always you can run it, but should you?
Sure.
Well, if you run UT on a GT 120, more than likely it's probably going to be the last thing the video card ever sees. It'll probably catch on fire. You'll have flames coming out of your G5 and shit,
Well, it is an NVIDIA, so yeah.
Yeah, they deserve it.
I knew Rocky was going to say something. That's why I had to say it.
Hey, I'm sticking with my freaking 1060, so bite me.
Yep, he's stuck
No,
it.
I've been using ATI. I've been using ATI video cards for about 30 years now, so I'll stick with them. So
Yeah.
I'm still a more NVIDIA fanboy, but I'm slowly converting since I don't have much of an option.
Yeah.
I could not care less if
Did we
Mac
lose?
is ever able to use NVIDIA ever
There's
again.
Mike. Okay. Yeah, I don't care. Now, since we're talking about NVIDIA and AMD actually specifically, should we switch to our next topic here and talk about
You
that?
never asked me about what.
Oh, sorry. What did you destroy?
But you
There we
said,
go.
you said you couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
Later.
You did.
I'm not going to mention anything now.
No.
thank you.
What
No.
did you?
I'm actually quite curious, Steve.
Come on.
I actually have been fairly gentle to my machines, despite my reputation from last
Not
night.
what I saw yesterday.
That's what I was about to say.
it's still 30% of them are still working. The other 70 are still dead.
Well, I'm willing to bet you that Steve's percentage of machines working are better than Grudy's.
I don't know about that. I haven't
Oh.
plugged
yeah, I don't know if I go
Every
that
single
far.
one, but maybe 2 or 3 of my machines work.
The
So,
only difference is Steve's machines are marginally older than the ones that Greg has.
Exactly.
That's true.
Greg's stuff is all from this century. Steve's stuff's all from last century.
Mine's
Well,
mostly
some of them from the end of the last century, but still.
Well, you could actually say his is from the last millennium.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So I've been fairly gentle to my machines. I haven't actually gotten too many of them beyond repair, and I think most of them actually what happens is I get them broken to begin with. So if I could repair them, I usually do. The worst thing that I've done recently was spill water on my office machine, which thankfully was saved by Jay's expertise, advice, and cleaning the thing out completely. But knock wood, I haven't really destroyed anything recently, so we'll see how that changes.
So Starbucks asked it if Grudy was on a Windows
Yeah,
machine.
I'm responding to him right now.
Yeah. Getting hate from the fans already.
And guess what? Grudy's not on Wi-Fi either.
Yeah, the hell froze
I haven't been on Wi-Fi for the last 10 or 15 episodes, GT.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. That's why you
Moving
always,
along there.
Yeah.
Now he's on LTE.
You keep saying, I got 2 Ethernet cables here, so if one fails, the
It's
other
not
one
how the
works.
modem works.
That's not how it works either way. But he forgot to turn his Wi-Fi off, so he's still going to be on Wi-Fi, even if he's disconnected.
It does work fairly well, though. I will give him credit. It can flip-flop between Wi-Fi and Ethernet, and it can dual them.
Well, my
Mac
problem
OS does a good job.
was my
not
my
Mac OS
controllers on my PC had IP conflict problems.
That's why you don't put both of them in at the same time.
That's why you
So
don't.
no, it's because it would just drop a signal on one of them at some point, and it could just pick it back up.
That's why you don't use a PC for that crap.
Should upgrade to Windows 98. Much
Well,
better performance.
my
A
Mac
millennium,
Pro even
that's
does
the
it
one.
down here.
All right, guys.
I
So,
tell you, I'll come and rewire your house.
all right, we're gonna move on here. Man, how long have we been? 42 minutes already, and we only got the first topic. Holy crap! All
We'll
right.
be here till midnight.
Yeah, we're gonna be here a while. All right.
I blame this topic on Justin, though.
So-
which is
Yeah.
Blame the guest.
Thank you, blames on me, so
The next topic is, I know we've talked about this the last 3 or 4 shows probably about the new Mac Pro.
Yep.
Got some
Not
new
as
information from a source of mine who will remain nameless. That
Bob.
the new the new Mac Pros are going to be coming out later, I believe. Hold on, let me see. He says later this year, up to 64 cores. They'll be coming out with the AMD processor.
I think that's around the summer.
With 64 cores, 4 terabyte RAM, 128 PCIe 4.0 lanes, and the tests he's seen says it has 2 Intel Xeons costing $20,000, losing to one EPYC 64 core costing $5,600.
Wow.
Losing.
I bet.
2 Xeons losing to one of these. So
And Starbuck Tech is correct. That would be the AMD equivalent to a Xeon. It's the EPYC.
yeah.
Yep.
So you got to imagine, I mean, even one Xeon costed $10,000, still one EPYC costs half that price.
It's
Oh,
an
don't worry.
unfortunate
Apple
reality.
won't pass the
Yeah.
savings on to you.
Yeah.
True.
Well, Apple
The
won't.
price
Yeah.
ain't going to change.
Yeah, Apple won't. But he's also saying, that they coming out with this like 3 times the speed thread. I guess they're coming out with a Threadripper version 3 versus 2 Xeons. Says the model costs $39.90. So yeah, it sounds like they're going to have some pretty good stuff coming out if they do that. And everybody that bought into the first version is going to be like kicking themselves.
That's why you listen to me. You never buy revision 8, ever.
But the nice thing is
Nice and looks.
the value will drop through the floor on those, and you can pick one up cheaper.
No.
But why
Yeah,
would you
only
want
15
to?
grand.
But why
Yeah.
would you want to?
There.
Because then they're not going to be, they're going to be like the low end models of the Mac Pros.
Still better than the 5,1s we have now.
True.
Yeah.
It's still
And
better than the
with that socket
5,1
on
and
it, we should be
50
able to
times.
upgrade the CPUs for a while too.
Hopefully.
And still
Don't
50
feel too
times
bad.
better than the 6,1.
That's true.
That is
No
true.
doubt there. Yeah.
So that's my news for the Mac Pro. Unless anybody else has got anything to add to that one, we can.
No, I haven't seen
Well-
any significant testing or benchmarking since last time we covered it, so I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite disappointed. I will admit this. As I've seen them released and stuff like this, I'm quite disappointed in the fact that Apple put a subpar GPU in the base model Mac Pro when
Doing that for
for just a
years.
touch more
Here we go,
you can
Rocky.
get like the 50 you can get the the 5700 XT for a little bit more on Apple's side, and you've got a decent GPU. Granted, it's still AMD, but
Yeah, but the 580 Pro still not a horrible
no,
GPU.
it's garbage.
And,
In the
and Apple is never
5700
going
No,
to
not
give you
really.
something for
It's
free.
garbage.
They shipped a G5 with what, 256 megs of RAM? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Stop being delusional here. They're
Yeah.
gonna
No,
give you
they,
this crap
they,
GPU.
they sold the 2FX with no freaking GPU.
Well, but I'm not okay. I'm trying to give Apple a little bit of credit, but also
What?
put them within balance.
What,
Because
Rocky?
the reality is, if I'm gonna buy a base
Rocky
model Mac Pro or one that's mildly supposed to be a professional model, it's got to have a decent level of professional equipment in it, and a 580 is not professional equipment.
I agree.
A lot of
It's
other
got
crap.
Pro in the name, Rocky.
Well, so did
That
the
doesn't make
MacBook
it
Pro.
professional.
That's been sucking for the last 7 years.
I was going to go down a bad rabbit.
Now, I agree. Their base specs are not great, but the real value of the Pro doesn't come from what Apple supplies. It comes from all the upgrades you're going to do over the next few years, I think.
Yeah. And
So-
when has their base model been the best? I mean,
Never.
Never.
base models always sucked. I mean,
My 4,1 is an example of that. It has the 2.26, and it came out well after my 2.8, which was a
yeah,
base
the
model.
freaking 2012 Mac Pro has a slower SATA connection than the 2011 iMac. I mean, you're never going to get anything better than what Apple's going to give you. They want you to pay for upgrades. They don't care about you.
Yeah. It's true.
Why do you think they sell RAM at highly inflated prices? That's where they make most of their money. They have been doing it since the late 90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're true.
Late 80s, actually.
Right there, yeah.
And you know what? People will buy it because they don't want. See, and that's the thing is that you get people that's going to buy these Pro machines. A lot of these are like movie houses and stuff like that. That do audio and video editing and stuff like that, and they don't want to actually go in and create their own machine. They don't want to tinker with it like we do. Okay, they want something that they could take right out of the box, turn it on, and start working.
I don't
That's-
know about that. I had quite a few production houses as clients, and they all had in-house IT to do exactly those kind of things. So
Yeah, but
Yeah, there's some people that will, and probably some that are too
some do,
cautious
but
to
I'm talking about there's some that probably just want it straight out of the box and it works, And
Yeah.
that's why the Apple charges that premium because they know that people will pay for it.
the only way I will pay the Apple pricing on RAM or an SSD or anything is if the only other option out there is OWC. I will still buy it from Apple.
Or if it's, the one time soldered on, so you have to order it then and there.
That is BS.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such BS.
That's my 2014 Mac Mini I'm talking on. It's maxed out with 16 gigs. I couldn't go higher or lower if I wanted to because it's soldered on.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
stupid.
True.
It's basically an
That's
iPad.
why the 2014s are worth less than 2012s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's the same with all the MacBook Pros. I mean, the same thing. I mean, the SSDs are soldered on and the memory's soldered on. So you're screwed either way. You have to order it specifically the way you want it. Otherwise, you can't add anything on.
And then you just got a nice big slab of e-waste right there.
Yep.
Well, I have a question. Can we do topic 7 next, as it kind of blends into this better?
Sure.
What is
okay with
top?
What's topic 7
No,
again?
no, I got it.
Look at the
Open the
PDF.
document.
All right. So, yeah, since we're talking about this, we'll go ahead and go straight into that one right now. And we came up with this one because we saw an article on, I forget where I saw it from, but is Apple better without Jony Ives?
Oh, yeah. It's Ive.
Well,
Jony
Ive, whatever. Well, some people are even in the comments said, no, his name is Sir. I'm like, no, he's Jony Ive. I'm sorry.
I'll
I'm
call
not
him Sir
British.
when I'm dead.
I'm not
Yeah.
British, so I'm not going to call him a Sir.
Is he? Was he knighted?
Yes,
I didn't
he
know
was.
that.
Yes. Years ago.
Oh, Matt has a very valid point, Mr. Grudy,
Wow.
tiny man in the big chair. The topics are also in the description, Grudy.
I'm high on painkillers now.
Don't even.
Give me a break.
I'm high on
I will give him
painkillers. I don't have a
pass.
tripod. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm drunk.
See what you're supporting here, Justin? Oh my God.
You're supporting
Speaking
his
of which, my
habit.
Patreon-
Hey, you're lucky I'm even here right now.
I don't see that as lucky.
Yeah, I don't consider that.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Screw you too, Jay.
So let's get back on topic here. Apple without Jony Ive. I personally am kind of glad he's gone because, to be honest with you, the designs he made kind of put engineers in a box where they had to design around his designs, and trying to put
Yeah, they were
something
constrained.
exactly. So they had to make compromises in order to fit those designs he came out with.
The trash can, of course, is that classic example of
Mhm. That's one of them. The MacBook Pros that have recently come out, the thinner and thinner. I mean, you can't tell me that some engineer probably went up to him and says, this can't be done. And then Jony Ive, because he was like the high and mighty in Apple at the time, said, nope, you will do it this way. I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
Well, Johnny Ive always enjoyed Steve Jobs' protection
Exactly.
while he was there.
Mhm.
With Steve gone, even before he died, when Steve stepped back, he kind of lost some of that control. But they didn't have anyone else to go to. So to me, it feels like, especially the designs he's done since Steve died, have been kind of like
Garbage.
what's his name? Ricky Gervais in the Golden Globes. He's like, this is my last time anyway. F it. And he just started doing whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah, just winging it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think they said when he left Apple to start his own company, Apple would still be one of his clients.
Well,
or
actually, it
something.
was still his first client when he made his new company.
Yeah.
In fact, Apple, from what I hear, is still planning on using him for most designs. Nothing's really changed. He just left Apple.
Now he's getting paid more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
probably.
getting paid more for it too.
I have to say. Go ahead. Sorry, Bruce.
No, I was just going to say that I think sometimes design being the driving factor can be a really good thing. I mean, I think sometimes if an engineer says to you, no, look, I can't do this. It's not, I think it's good to have a designer say, you know what, we will make a far better product if we can comply here, if we can do something like that. And I think that can actually do some really, really good things for products. And of course, keep in mind that Apple have a lot of people that, get this real sort of connection with the product. They don't just buy the thing, they love it. It's, oh, I love my Apple. This is something that happens. And that, of course, is something that's driven by the design.
Right.
And where it kind of goes off the rails is, things like those incredibly thin sort of Macs. That's where they start to lose functionality. No ports on these things. And that's where I think it actually starts to become sort of a bad thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. And
I agree.
my wife's iMac is a prime example of that. It's a 2014 27-inch, fully spec'd out, 4 gig GPU, highest CPU you could get. I think it was 4 gigahertz at the time. It's great hardware on paper. In practice, even if I use fan control to blast the fans or fan. It only has one freaking fan in it.
It's
If
a
I
blower.
put it at maximum speed, which is 2,500 RPM or 2,700, it throttles like crazy. I
Right.
cannot use remote desktop to help her out with something because the GPU will instantly hit 105 Celsius. It's a terrible design because it's flat. If you would have put those internals on any pre-2012 iMac, it would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Because they had more room to breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and more than one freaking fan.
Yeah, they had what the.
Now, I will say, sorry, to cut
No,
in
go
there.
ahead.
I will say I had a 2013, which was almost identical to the 2014. Those two are the same model. And I had a 27-inch. Mine was built to order. I liked the fact that the RAM was upgradable. But mine wasn't spec with the top CPU. It had the same 4 gig top GPU. And mine did not max itself out as much. I mean, yeah, I could punish it and get it there, but it didn't have the same problems that that one does. However, you've got to use fan control. You've got to sit there and keep it clean, and you've got to use high quality thermal paste, which Apple never does.
Well, here's the thing about keeping those clean, though, too. The 2012 and up are damn near impossible to actually get inside and keep clean.
Because they're glued shut.
Yeah, because they're glued shut. So, I mean, I did my 2017 one time, and it was a pain in the ass. And then you got to put the strips back on it, or you tape it so you can always remove it again, like Jay does now.
Hey, I tape mine
Yeah.
too.
Well, I taped mine until I sold it. Then when I sold it, I had to put the strips back on it, So, but
Yeah.
within 1 year, you saw how much dust I pulled out of that thing, Jay, in
Oh,
1
it was
year.
disgusting.
1 year.
And that thing's intakes are at the bottom of your desk, and if you think about it, your desk is should be the cleanest place in your office versus the floor that a Mac Pro sits on.
You have a desk.
I have exactly enough space on my desk to move my mouse an inch in each direction, and that's it.
But yeah, those designs were just crap. I mean, the 2011 and below iMacs, they were thick and they had plenty of room, and you could actually go in and clean them out. You could actually, they had 3 fans in them, so you could actually control, where you wanted your air to flow.
Right.
I mean, it was designed much better. And you could actually get into the thing because it was held on the screen was held on by magnets,
Yeah.
Yep.
But to go back on topic, do we blame Johnny for all of this? Because originally Steve was the one that was opposed
No,
to fans in the Mac.
blame him too. Okay. And you had those two together basically making these things up. Like, for instance, the first iMac has no fans. The iMac G3
It has one fan.
It does.
The first one had fans.
second
The
one does.
slot load.
Yes, I have a slot load and it does not have fans.
I
in it.
learned that from Steve's video.
Yeah.
Like, what? They had a fan?
I learned it too.
I never knew.
First one did.
And I've actually had mine on before for a long period of time, and you could roast a frickin' turkey on top of that thing because it's so hot, the heat coming off of it. And there's no airflow in there, so you wonder how the hell's that thing keeping cool?
It's
Yeah,
theoretically supposed to be convection, however, it's not that effective.
Yeah, and that's
Practice,
also why the caps go so quickly in those.
Yeah. So,
I always put a 120 on the little handle grab, just
Yeah.
zip tie that bad boy on there.
but
Got a fan.
I mean, to be honest with you, some of his designs are really good looking, but in reality, in using them for functionality, they're not.
That's the thing. They're good looking. He's great when it comes to good looking stuff. I mean, but it doesn't work. It
Yeah,
doesn't freaking
functionality wise.
But
Now,
But Steve, the
what?
the
the good
MacBook
looking
Pros.
also gets people in the door to buy.
That's
It makes
true.
that
Very true.
Well,
Very true.
fan.
Very
you get
true.
people like
But the
iJustine.
iPhone and iPad do that.
But butterfly keys.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so bad.
Not that again.
That actually would turn and make people turn away just trying to try them out.
You know what's funny about that? Today at my store, that I had a lady come in. She had a MacBook Pro 2018, and she said her space bar stopped working. And the first thing I told her was, there's a replacement program for that. Whose clock is going off?
I don't know.
You can hear the clock?
There is like, yeah.
Dude, like it's next to
Yeah.
Well, that's odd. I muted the microphone and you could still hear
Yeah.
it.
Well, at least we know we've been on for an hour now.
But anyways, so I told her,
wrap it up.
I told her, I said, Apple has a repair program on that. I said, just bring it to an Apple store and they'll fix it for free. You know? So, I mean, that's just the way it is. You know, she goes, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like, so there's a lot of people out there that do not know that, you know, Apple has these, you know, repair programs out there.
Because if Apple would do, and I go off topic, but that's what we do at Mac. Apple only has to do one thing to do right by all their customers. As soon as you launch your repair program, don't try to hide it on the back pages. Send all your customers an email.
Yeah.
Because you know you have their info.
Yeah.
You know exactly who bought what. Send them an email. Say, hey, that Mac you bought, we effed up. When you breathe on the left corner of your display, the screen will crack. We'll take care of it for you. Just bring it to an Apple store. But no, they hide it as best they can. I hope that people won't know about it until it's too late.
Yep.
Now, that's a douche move.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. And then, like I told this lady, I said, you know, just call or go to the App Store. She was actually kind of grateful that I told her that, because she was...
I'm sure she was, yeah.
Because, I mean, to be honest with you, because she goes, well, I blew it out with air and everything. I said, ma'am, I said, that doesn't matter. I mean, the people's keyboards, you could blow them out with the, you know, with a leaf blower, and it ain't going to fix it.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah.
When Apple admits they screwed it up, they've really screwed it up. So they,
But it's never a big screw up, because it's always just a small percentage of their customers.
But they actually, a small percentage, yeah. Now, granted, so far, the 2 MacBook Pros that we have in this house have been working flawlessly, no problem with the keyboards. So far. That's what I'm saying.
About the design of the products, and maybe it's just the way technology has become smaller, but this obsession with thinness and everything, I'm hopeful that, you know, I like things portable as much as the next person, but I'm hopeful that now that they have maybe other designers who, yes, they're probably from the same school of thought as Jony was, but maybe they take different approaches to things. I'd be happy to see some, you know, different shaped computers. And I know a screen is going to be square, a laptop be usually the same size, but I'd be curious to see some other people what they come up with.
Yeah.
Well, me too, because when in that video where you see that Jony left, he's like, oh, I have this team here at Apple. I trained them myself. So I'm like, oh, God. They all think the same as that prick.
Yeah.
But every designer wants to leave their mark. So it's very possible that whoever it was, I think I read in the chat, it's some French guy. He's like, oui, I will listen to you, and I will do everything you say. And as soon as he goes,
he's like, nope, we're doing it my way.
I'm going to do my own thing. So, I don't know. I hope so. Dude, if I get a square cube-like Mac Pro again, but like 5 times as big, I'm happy.
Can you imagine that, like, if they mounted like PCI Express slots on like 2 sides of the cube and you can just slam them in? Oh, that'd be badass.
Dude, if you want to make your mark, do something.
Now,
radical.
one other thing that Jony Ives left a mark on, it's not hardware-wise, but software-wise, when he got put in charge of iOS. Remember when iOS 7 came out? They went from skeuomorphic to the flat design? It was horrible. I loved the old skeuomorphic design.
I mean, that took it a little far, but I liked my phone having personality.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in the calendar. I don't need to see all that fake leather and stuff, but a little bit toned down, I wouldn't have minded. But all this flat,
it's the same.
But the icons,
honestly, it's nice to go back and look at it, but I always thought it started getting kind of dated looking.
You know nothing about design because you didn't like my old logo.
What I really hate is the left side sidebar on the Finder. When they took away the colors from documents, pictures, downloads, all those buttons on the sidebar, that drove me nuts because the colors were, oh, okay, that's that. Let me click on that. I'm looking for a yellow thing. Now, when I'm trying to help my parents over the phone or whatever, and I'm like, click on the thing that looks like an A. No, it's the applications. No, it's in your sidebar. No, the one that says application. If I could say yellow, blue, and it added some color to the system. I mean, there was a hack to bring it back. I don't know if it still works.
That's the best thing about Snow Leopard 2? When you labeled a document, the entire name would be the color, not just a little ball next to it.
There's no reason they can't do that now. Yes, you have two different colored labels. Okay, you can't have one a full color. But you know what? Just if I'm going to label one, whenever I connect to my disk storage system, my little NAS device on like Snow Leopard or a system like that, I see all these colors and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember labeling these.
But to me, I think that was just another Jony Ive screw up. I mean, when iOS 7 came out, I was like, this is horrible looking. I mean, it looked like crap.
It showed that while he might know how a CAD program works, he doesn't know anything about interfaces.
Yeah.
That's just the way I take it.
Because iOS 7 was just horrible all the way around. I think that was probably the worst iOS version to date. Except for maybe 11.
Well, 10 was pretty
10, yeah.
11 and 12, 10, all.
But to answer
they're all
question,
bad.
The question posed in the banner, better, worse, or the same, I hope it gets better. I think it'll stay the same.
Yeah, it's definitely going to stay the same.
I think it's going to get a little better. I'm not sure it's going to get much better.
Maybe
because looking at the new Mac Pro, okay, look at all the upgrade. I mean, they went from a trash can to this now.
Well, I think it was the only logical way to go. Back to the old design.
I think they learned their lesson that when people started, complaining and not really. I bet you to be honest with you, I don't think the trash can sold as well as they thought it was going to. What the heck is that noise?
There's a mosquito going crazy.
Someone crashed their car?
All right. Somebody needs to mute.
What is that? I think it's Rocky. Because
something's happened to Rocky.
He fell.
That's Rocky.
Rocky, disconnect and then reconnect.
Mute him.
Oh, God.
Hey, GT,
please.
Can you mute him on your end? All right, thank you.
I didn't mute him.
I did.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it was Rocky.
Just very quickly on the design side of things. I mean, certainly with the Mac Pro, we've seen some very promising stuff there, but with the things like the iMacs and the sort of the MacBook Pros and stuff like that, one of the things that really worries me is that it's not just the design thing; it's also an absolute lack of care about how long that product is going to last. Because as we know, they're a hardware company. They want to keep selling new stuff. They want to, sort of make sure that, okay, well, this one dies, it's time for a new one. And so that, to me, is kind of another thing where you could look at a product and you could say, what, this needs to be a little bit thicker, so that we can make the, maybe the battery more easily replaceable or whatever, sort of add some more ports or whatever the case may be. But there is this attitude that you see in the products that they only expect them to last for a certain amount of time, and then when they fail, it's like, well, bad luck, it's time for a new one.
Yeah,
I do have to say, hooking in on that, there is a bubble. It's kind of like that Steve Jobs reality distortion field. It's still there, and when you're on campus at Apple in Cupertino, it's like you step through that bubble, and nobody reads Mac rumors. Nobody checks Mac Informer, Mac Insider, whatever.
They probably block them all.
Nobody checks Facebook. It's like everybody there is making mad amounts of money, and they always buy something new comes out twice a year. They'll buy it twice a year. So maybe they really honestly believe that that's how people do it. Maybe they're not aware that there's some schmuck out there taking 8 hours to recap a board of a 30-year-old machine. Maybe they actually really, truly believe that people buy new computers every year.
Well, Apple has taken such a gradual change that's...
Oh, God.
Rocky! Mute yourself, Rocky.
I just muted him.
Yeah, Apple has taken such a gradual shift from, hey, we're a computer company in the 70s, our prices are, they may be a little high, to all of a sudden now they're a luxury brand where it's like, if you can't afford them, well, you shouldn't be able to buy an Apple product. And it's one of
Okay,
these
I
weird
think we might
things
have Rocky back.
Okay, it's one of these weird
Yeah,
things
sorry.
where it's just, it comes to a point where, they have some products that aren't insanely expensive, but this whole e-waste and right to repair stuff, hopefully, will make a dent in them at some
Well,
point.
since we're on this
Hopefully.
subject, let's go to that topic since we can knock this one out too.
Yeah, segue.
Yeah.
Yes, beautifully done.
It's almost like we
Yes,
planned this.
Well, hold on, I got
Yeah,
the wrong one.
so I mean, I think that hopefully they'll be more attentive to this. Now, I'm just crazy because they just want to make money, so
Yeah.
they don't care. But
Well,
they just want to look green on paper.
but Jay came up with this topic, the right to repair in 2020. What do we think is going to happen?
Actually, that wasn't mine.
Oh, was it? Whose was it?
Nope.
Me.
It was
Oh, the new
Bruce.
guy.
Ah.
Of course.
To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to change much. Apple's going to be Apple. They're not going to want to share their stuff with anybody.
It'll only change if people stop buying their stuff.
And
if people are actually saying,
Which
you know
they
what,
won't.
which they won't.
You know,
They're not
Apple-
going to do that.
No, that's right. Yeah, but I mean, if there was an attitude of, you know what, Apple aren't doing the right thing, they're not doing what the customer want or whatever, and then people say, no, I'm not going to buy their products because of their bad track record with recycling, whatever the case may be, then they will be forced to change. But as long as people just keep buying it blindly, then they've got absolutely no reason to change at all.
The only way I think that'll happen is if one day, if it'll happen, it might happen, we don't know. If one day everybody is happy on their brand new Mac Pro 2025 and whatever the next 10 years is going to hold, everybody's happy, and suddenly some massive system glitch or some software update completely destroys the firmware in the T2 chip and everybody is thrown back into the dark ages. Maybe then, if on a scale large enough that half the planet is impacted, maybe then people will wake up and say, hey, this company has too much control over what I have on my desk. Let's think it over. But, I haven't bought anything new from Apple in 7-8 years.
Exempting your iPhone.
I bought one of these.
You've got the newest iPhone, don't you, Jay?
Yep, but I didn't buy that from Apple.
And you got what? You got
But you still put money in Apple's pocket.
you've got that, right?
Got what? I can't see you. There's only 4 people on my screen.
Apple Watch.
I know Jay's got one.
Yeah.
One of
Also
these.
not from Apple.
But it is.
But for every choice I make not to buy it, there's a million people out there that do. So, what are we going to do?
I know that recently there was a story, and I didn't read too much into it, honestly, but that Apple was going to start supplying or allowing select partners to have access to either their same tools or the same parts at the same price as Apple.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I think
I don't
that
think any
just
exist
the
yet.
iPhone. Yeah.
If you look at some videos from Rossman, he had some people void their NDA to talk about what it takes to become a member of that program.
Oh, I'm sure it's
a
not easy.
disaster. It's an
Yeah.
absolute disaster. And once you're in, you can't do shit.
And,
It's
and
the same thing that
parts,
they've
the
had
parts
for
are
a
ridiculously
long time.
expensive too.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
They've had that partner program for years.
and-
That's how I became an Apple tech, is through a
and
partner.
if you go outside of their repair policies, you probably get kicked right out of the program too.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh,
Yes,
for
you do.
sure.
So basically,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Yeah.
no, I'm saying basically your hands are tied on what you can and can't do. So
Damned if you do, damned if you
So,
don't.
for instance, a board level repair that you could do for a couple of bucks is going to cost $1,000 because they want you to replace the whole frickin' logic board.
Yeah, one example from one of these people that became a member of this new program, he needed a new battery for a customer's iPhone. Apple said, have the customer come in, open the phone, take down the serial number of the battery, then order a new one, then wait 2 weeks, have the customer come in again for the replacement. So the customer has to come in, you have to open their phone, they lose the waterproof seal for 2 weeks. Well, it's ridiculous. It's a joke. It has to be a joke.
It's like, why can't they
It has to
replace
be a
the
troll.
battery right then and there? That doesn't make sense.
Yep.
You know.
And people ask me all the time, why don't you become
Well,
Apple
the reason
certified
why-
reseller or Apple authorized service provider?
Because then you can't
because
do-
then I can't do anything I currently do.
Well, the reason why they have you do that is because Apple has to match the serial number to the battery to the phone, and only authorized Apple repair
And
people.
Greg,
can do it.
that's a bunch
They
of
have hardware
that's a
for
bunch of BS too.
Yeah, it's a
I'm
bunch of
sorry.
bull.
It
they-
is. I totally agree with you.
There's
but they lock it out otherwise.
yeah, and I think
I know, but when you put a new battery in an Apple store in a reseller, they have software and hardware that matches the serial number to the phone again. It's not done on Apple.
it's almost like the touch.
Yeah.
You know, the touch button, the Touch ID button
Yeah.
on the older iPhones, where you could actually, if you replace that Touch ID button, you lost Touch ID
But there
functionality.
are some gray market programmers out there now that you can program your own stuff.
Or back in the day when Jay and I were still doing warranty, we had that fancy little disc that was the serial programmer disc for motherboards.
I
You
just
would
got
get a
the new
motherboard.
version of Blankboard Serializer.
Oh, you did?
It's still around.
Inside.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
Brock just
So, I mean-
Brock just said Apple just hit 1.3 trillion. Is that right? Am I reading that number right?
Yeah, trillion. They're a
What were you
$1
gonna say,
trillion
Bruce?
company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably all those damn Mac Pros they just sold.
Yeah, that's probably half of it.
So
And
the
a quarter of that is wheels.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this century they'd hit that number, I would have not
Display
believed
station.
you.
Yeah.
Brock says T3 chip coming soon. I believe that.
Probably.
Is that
I'm
before or after the $2,000 display
That's all
stand?
Cut
Bruce,
everyone off.
This is your topic. I'm sure you had a certain
Yes,
stance in
please
mind.
No, I was just going to sort of mention about this with, it's all very well for Apple to be doing that for their repairs. Okay, you bring your computer to us, we're going to have to replace the whole board or the whole screen or the whole whatever, and it's going to cost you $1,000. That's all very well, but then obviously people like, sort of Rossman and Jay and you are doing these repairs without Apple's consent. Now, where I see this whole thing being an issue is when sort of Apple do things that stop you from being able to do that, like the stuff we're talking about where they sort of match things with serial numbers and stuff. And that then sort of, for me, starts to get, really mean and kind of spiteful, that they're actually... that you're saying, okay, look, you know what, Apple, if you're not going to do a component level repair, that's fine, but let me do it, or the idea of someone who has something that is well outside of warranty, and perhaps they had a go at fixing it themselves, and then they take it to Apple and they say, okay, I wasn't able to fix it, I want you to repair it. And they go, no, we're not going to repair it because you opened it and tried it yourself, that sort of thing. Regardless of whether you're going to pay for it or not, it's like, we're not even going to look at it because you repaired it. That's where I sort of feel like this thing it starts to get really mean. Apple aren't going to suddenly turn around and start saying, hey, look, we're doing component level repairs now. They'll never do that.
Never.
Yeah.
But when they are actually doing stuff to restrict other people from doing that, sort of, I don't know, blocking deliveries or something like that, that's when I think it actually starts to get, that's the sort of behavior that needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of idiots out there. Not going to deny that, but when you bring something to Apple that you spilled liquid on, and the flat rate fee to send it off to a place they call Depot is $1,240. Just because it got wet. They don't even open it. Or maybe they open it, they see one trigger liquid indicator, $1,240, liquid damage. The word liquid is involved, $1,240. That's like calling your customer an idiot. So, okay, you either touched it without our consent or you spilled something on it, you're an idiot.
Well,
here's the penalty.
I'm going to be like this. If I'm going to pay $1,200 something, I just might as well buy a new one. And that's what they're trying to do.
Well, that's
and
what they
that's
want.
exactly what they're
That's
doing.
what they want.
Yep. I don't think the right to repair is going to make any meaningful progress this year.
I don't think so either.
But I hope.
I
that the
hope I'm
fight
proven wrong.
remains. And my wife actually put an article on my Facebook earlier that said that a lot of farmers and people that use tractors and John Deere equipment are purposely buying old stuff so they can repair it themselves. And if we get to that point with the Mac community, which is hard because you're talking freaking 12-year-olds instead of, serious farmers. But if we get there, we can pull it off.
I can testify to that. Actually, I live in Kansas and I'm surrounded by farmers, and they do. They buy the older equipment unless they are rich enough to pay the specific companies for repair, because they're starting to do what Apple does. They're making specific components for equipment, and they won't buy that new equipment anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. And there's one kind of segueing into another part of what I was going to say. There's something that Apple said. They said that the reason that they try to block out independent repair from being able to do independent repair is because there's a bunch of bad shops doing bad work, and it's screwing up their machines and their reputation. However, they're discounting the fact that there are people who do good work and keep machines that are defective in the first place in the market and functioning, and make Apple look good because it makes them show, oh, wow, this is a 10, 20-year-old machine, still functional, still great, still good, but Apple discredits that for a couple bad eggs in their opinion.
When I tell people that I game on a 2009 Mac Pro, people can't believe it. And I'm sitting there telling them, I actually sold my 2017 iMac because my Mac Pro, my 10-year-old or 11-year-old Mac Pro outperforms my 2017.
Yep.
And there's Grudy getting up and down in his chair.
The chair.
That was very discreet.
Yeah.
Like
we
the
hardly
more discreet you
noticed
try
you.
to be, the noisier it is.
Yeah, I was just trying to think back of when the last new Mac I bought was. I think it was a 2014 Mac Mini, and I actually returned it to Apple.
Yeah.
Well, from what I hear, you don't really treat your new Macs all that well.
Maybe that was for the better. I might have blown it all up.
I'm here.
I mean,
Here.
this
sorry.
FireWire 800 behind me, still functional. I got a Mac Pro 2009, upgraded it to the 2010, still functional.
Yep. And don't forget
MacBook Air, still functional. Apple Watch, original one, still functional. We won't talk about the Series 2 that had an incident with my garage floor. It's not still functional. 6S Plus, still functional.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2012 MacBook Air is the newest Mac I own, actually. So,
and Apple likes to rag on independent repair shops and people that, hack stuff together, but it's for people like us that go after the schematics, that try to keep this stuff alive, that a lot of hardware flaws have come to light. Like Apple could not for the life of them figure out why the 2009 and 2010 GPUs kept failing. It was one capacitor. Apple didn't figure it out. Billions in R&D, they couldn't figure it out. It was the community that figured it out.
I bet you they didn't even bother looking.
Right. And people like Colin figuring out a workaround for the 2011 GPU issue.
Yeah.
And it's they like to hate us.
Apple could have done that. Apple could have always done that. Apple could have found a workaround for the 2011 issue. I mean, they could have probably done that just with, download a firmware upgrade or something, but they don't want to.
Well, they could have pressured AMD into releasing a new chip like NVIDIA did.
Yeah.
Apple just wants you to buy a new machine. Period.
Yep.
At the end of the day, we're Apple's worst nightmare. Because we are the ones trying to keep these things
We
going.
are.
Yes.
Yeah. But
It'll take 8 hours, but I'll get it
on
done.
the other hand, we're the ones that actually keep Apple looking good. Because
not what we
No. I'm talking about when we show that their hardware lasts longer than that PC crap that's out there. That's what makes them look better as far as longevity of a computer.
On a component level, I'd almost argue that I think the only reason that the Apple stuff lasts longer is probably because it's engineered a little bit differently, because you're having one manufacturer design it and create it. Not that they don't have flaws, obviously they do, but We have E-Machines and HP and Compaq and all these 90s brands doing the same crap.
Yeah.
So they're trying to save a few cents each way. But I'm curious of everyone in our group here, who purchased an Apple product brand new, a computer, let's say. Who bought who has not bought an Apple product brand new for the longest time, like a computer? Like, I can't word that.
The last new Apple product that I purchased brand new was an iPhone 6 Plus, and that was it.
Computer. Let's
we're talking computers.
I've never bought a brand new Apple computer. Never.
Okay.
I think probably for me it would have been one of the white MacBooks. That was probably the most recent.
2006, 2007, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was a 2000. I think it was 2007 or 8 when the 1.83 the 2.16 gigahertz MacBook Pro 17-inch. Okay. That was the last new computer I bought.
Mine just is the 2017 MacBook Pro, and I bought that one straight from Apple. Believe it or not, built to order because I got the bigger SSD and more RAM. I actually upped the RAM to 16, and the SSD is 256 instead of the 128 with the base model.
Ugh.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Oh, Mike's audio's muted. Hold on. Can somebody unmute Mike?
No, he has to unmute himself.
Okay, I unmuted myself. I haven't bought a new computer in 30 years.
So it was beige. Okay.
But I did.
But
like I said, I did buy a 2017 iMac, brand new. But then I just sold it because I used my CMP more than it. It actually replaced it.
The last one I got was my 2011 iMac, and I do not see myself buying a new machine from them.
Yeah.
It would have to be quite a machine to make.
I have been thinking.
I'd have to have a specific purpose to buy a new machine.
I have been thinking of selling this thing and possibly getting the new MacBook Pro, the 16-inch.
He just doesn't learn, does he?
No, that one's actually looks a lot better. The keyboard actually is different, completely different.
It has an
LCU
escape
come
key.
to the store and go, no.
Yeah, the new MacBook Pro has an escape key.
Yeah.
The feature.
I mean, the only thing,
innovation right
I
there.
think the only drawback to it is that touch bar. I don't know if I can get used to that damn touch bar.
There's a freaking escape key for you. There's an escape key. How about that?
Hey,
Actually push
I
it.
have an escape key on this one. Yeah. See?
Yeah,
right there. Escape.
Yep.
Now,
It's big too.
I know. That's the best escape. Yeah.
There you go. Now I do want it to be known to any new possible viewers, which we do appreciate, that we're not dogging people that buy old machines. Obviously, I do, and many of us do, because honestly, if you think about the ecosystem of a computer, which is what obviously Apple's trying not to think about, the person that buys a new machine and then sells it to someone else as a used machine, they're a larger pot of money to buy their next new machine that somebody else will buy used later. So having a used market is a very positive thing, and not only builds brand loyalty, it also builds funds for the people who do or are able to purchase brand new machines. Some of us just buy them, old machines because we prefer it. Some buy it because of economic reasons.
Well, I was going to say, most of us buy it because we can't afford the new machines.
Damn right.
Yeah, you're not wrong, but I'm just trying to lay it out there, the whole ecosystem,
So, yeah. All right, so we are going to be running way late.
Never going to make it.
So
we could save number 3 for another time. That's not time sensitive.
No.
Well,
Greg wants to discuss it because he finally has.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to discuss this. We can do it real quick. We don't have to go too far into depth on this. But Apple product boxes, okay? I know there are some people that like to keep the boxes, some that as soon as they get their new product, they throw it away and you'll never see it again. And to be honest with you, if I buy something new from Apple, I usually have the box. In fact, I have all the boxes to my iPads. I have the box to this thing here. I have the box to my iPhones. I also have just recently acquired a not brand new, but a 20-inch cinema display in the box, and the box was pretty damn new. So the guy that
Let me put that into perspective for everybody listening to this. He got this display in a box, would not shut up about the box and how mint it was for the next 3 days. Okay, carry on.
Yes, because
now that they know the whole
because
story.
it's a 20-year-old, well, I'd say 10-year-old box. Well, 15-year-old box, because 2004 is what the date is on it. So it's a 15-year-old box. But still, the box is in really good shape, and people that actually keep their boxes, when you ship something out, it usually helps to keep that, because you have the styrofoam, everything's made to cut to fit, and it will ship and probably make it in shipping.
Is that box signed by Steve
No,
Jobs?
it's not signed by Steve Jobs, unfortunately.
Hold on. Let me fix that for you.
I could fix that.
Let me fix
I could fix that and just and then I could put it up on eBay, for $2,500.
No, but what about the people that care and put tremendous monetary value on a box just because it's
I
a
don't
box?
put monetary
It's
value
to a complete collection or something.
I don't put monetary value on. I keep the boxes because when I sell something, I like to sell it in the box because it protects it, especially if you're going to ship it. But as far as monetary value, no, an empty box is an empty box.
So you would not pay money for a box only on eBay?
No.
Because obviously people are selling them. So.
Some of the stupid money that they're asking.
Yeah.
They want to take ground or something to be one thing, but people selling boxes for $50 just because it had a Mac in it. It's just complete crap.
Hold on a second.
I see a box.
There you go, Greg.
He walked away. He's offended.
But look, there's also a practical thing, and that is that boxes take up a huge amount of space.
Yes.
Damn right they do.
Now, I do keep all my boxes,
See?
iPhones, iPods, iPads. I always buy them used with a box when I can, because, resale makes it easier. For the Mac and for the laptops, I will keep the boxes. If I buy a laptop without a box, I try to find a box later. But I don't have any boxes for G4, G3 displays, anything like that, because I would need a house twice the size. So.
Well, I mean,
Now,
and here's another.
ahead,
I was going to say, for this new monitor I just got. Okay, this is not an Apple product at all. Okay, it's a Samsung widescreen monitor. It's curved, but I'm keeping the box because this monitor is curved. And if I ever move, I could put the monitor right back in the box, and it will make it in one piece. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's a practical reason for having a box.
And that's the reason why. I mean, here, I'll show you what this box looks like, because it's not actually a box that I would ever even design on keeping, but this is it. Okay, it's just a everyday box. I mean, I can't even show it in the whole screen because this thing is so tall. But
I mean, but when it comes to a monitor like that, I mean, I see the practical reason that you're talking about, but even a curved display like that, I throw the box out. My big catch is like an iMac, or especially the Mac Pro, the heavy beast. A box is worth it on those, because the Apple box, it ships it and it gets there and there's not a problem. On a display like that, I mean, if I'm rolling it in my car, I've got some foam padding and I can keep that thing from screwing itself up. I do that every day for work. But when it comes to something as heavy as a Mac Pro or an iMac, I do want a box for that. I do want the Apple original or somebody's remanufactured, not naming any names, but Jay might work for a company that does that. And and then that way I know it gets there.
You mean OWC? No, just kidding.
Yeah.
All right, Jay.
I think as long as the computer's under warranty or it's retaining a lot of value, keeping the box around is not a bad idea at all.
Yeah,
especially if you have to
that.
ship it to Apple, if you don't have a store by you. or you have to move it around or something like that, nothing's going to protect it better than the original box. And that's what people are having a lot of problems with CRTs or iMacs, the old CRT ones. They're trying to ship them around, and without the original padding of that box, they're just going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
The only box I want that I don't have is for an Exo Raid. That's a box I would want.
Yeah, that's true, because
they're probably rare.
Probably very
rare.
Yeah,
probably. They just toss them.
Because usually...
Yeah, especially because all the customers were probably corporate accounts that they keep their boxes around.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, if I like the product and I have it boxed, cool. I'm not going to go crazy finding the box for it. Sometimes I get a box at a yard sale because it was just like full of baseball cards or something, and I'll just get the box for it. And it's small and it looks cool. But, yeah, I mean, if I have the box, that's cool. I'm not going to go crazy spending money on the box. That's just silly.
Sure. And you have to admit, the iPhone boxes are really nice.
I have a stack of them.
That's the only box that I have.
Well, yeah.
And it's because it's small enough I can fit it in my 500 square foot apartment.
But yeah, I agree with Rocky on this. The iPhone boxes and stuff like that, the smaller ones are really nice because they made them sturdy and everything. And when you sell, or if you own your iPhone, okay, if you're not leasing it or whatever, and you go and upgrade your iPhone, if you want to sell it and you want to ship it, the best way to ship it is in the box. It's going to survive better than if you ship it.
Grudy, you're muted.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to know is, does Justin have the box for his original MDD?
No, I don't.
What?
Because I sold that MDD. The one behind me is one I picked up last year on eBay, and it was marginally packed in a brown generic box. In fact, I think it had a This End Up label on it, and the carrier decided to put it This End Up. That was a nice touch. I just about lost it.
Yep.
Really? Steve just walked away.
No, he said, be right back. Just getting a drink upstairs.
He did an 8-hour stream without drinking so much as a drop of water, and now he has to walk away to get a drink.
He did have a dinner break yesterday.
Yeah, he did have a dinner break. So.
The funny thing is I think Greg's still sitting there trying to talk and nobody can hear him.
Well, that's because we muted him. He needs to unmute himself. I can't unmute him. You're muted on Skype, Grudy.
You are muted.
Freaking millennial.
Right click. See the little microphone on the bottom down? There you go.
Me.
We muted you because
Why did you mute me?
Why? Because when you got up, you were making so much noise. Your chair was making so much noise. We had to mute it.
And no one told me this?
Because you had your headphones off. We were telling you.
You didn't figure it out after we ignored you for 10 minutes?
We talked about boxes for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
we know. We saw
it. Did you not read the iMessage where it says you are muted, Grudy?
No, I haven't.
See, this is what we have to deal with, people. We have to deal with Grudy.
This is what you support, Justin. This is what you support. If you want to switch over your patronage to me, feel free to do
that. Steve even goes, LOL, I have my wireless headphones on and I'm still laughing. laughing.
So. I was going to give him crap about it later, but he can hear me, so I don't have to repeat myself.
Anyway. I with boxes, I do find them sometimes inconvenient to hold on to, but when it comes to small boxes, they're pretty easy to hold on to, and it's nice to have them if you're trying to ship something. And I actually happened to find the Image Writer 2 box to my dad's old Image Writer. And it's full of documents and paperwork and a bunch of other random stuff next door, which is nice to find. But it's got a bunch of marker on it, so it's. But it's other than the marker, it's a nice square box still.
But, yeah, I don't know. Like Duke said, I keep my boxes either for easy transportation or protection. Plus, also, I just like them for my collection.
Well, when
And
you have like 90 Macs, it's easier to just store them all together than try to have 90 different boxes.
We saw your dining room.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't remember Grudy's old place, man, he couldn't even walk without stepping on a Mac.
Yep.
I would love that Mac collection. Just saying.
I would get divorced if I had that Mac collection.
Wendy's probably.
Well, you're starting to get that Mac collection in your basement.
Yeah, but it's not all his.
It's true.
That's why he's.
What?
That's why he's shipping stuff out, because he's trying to make room.
Actually, the basement is 99.9% my collection. There's one eMac for Grudy.
One
all of
iMac Grudy.
iMac, no, that already went to the garage. That's rotting away in there.
Oh, gee, thanks.
I told you got 1 month to pick this crap up, else it's moving to the garage. You never showed up. So, my office, however, is full of Steve stuff, which I'm hoping to ship soon. But most of it now is my stuff, and I'm putting disclaimers if anyone wants something from the recycler. Said you got 2 weeks to pick it up or ship it, else I'm tossing it. That's going to be my disclaimer going forward.
Makes sense.
But I'm still collecting money from you because you had to pay for it from the recycler, right?
Yeah. Yep. I don't mark it up though.
Yep. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to our next topic here. And I think this is one Jay came up with, I'm assuming, right?
Which one? Which topic number are we on? Because we've been bouncing around.
Jumped around a bit.
Yeah, we bounced. We're on topic 4 now.
No, yeah, 4, yeah.
Yeah.
The 2020 PPC Challenge.
Yes. Who's in? Who's going to do it?
I'll try, but I don't know.
I was the only one that did it last time.
I did it. I had the iMac sitting here, remember?
The only one.
I was the only one that actually wrote anything up. I think Dana also was the only other one that actually...
James?
Yeah, the problem is, GT, I never write things up.
Huh?
Because I'm technically a writer for low-end Mac, but I've never written a thing for them because I'm lazy.
Well, no shit. We already know that.
No, the last year we did the PowerPC Challenge in January as well, I believe. So I'm like, hey, let's do it again. I'm actually looking forward to it because it's just nice. It's just nice to work on a PowerPC. No notifications, no distractions, no garbage, banner, ad pop-up. It's just nice. So starting on the 16th, was it?
16th, yeah.
Yeah, 16th, next week, Thursday, as soon as the show ends, PowerPC Challenge starts. For those of you unaware or unfamiliar with the concept, it's simple. You grab a PowerPC, macOS 8, 9, 10, whatever you want to run, as long as it's macOS, and you do as much of your day-to-day computing on that PowerPC as you can. For a week, and then the challenge is over. And it's a nice way to refamiliarize yourself with the way stuff used to work. Fall in love again with the old iTunes, discover some old games. It's a nice challenge. Oh hell yeah, Unreal Tournament. So I put a link in the chat where I typed up a little text for it on the website, so you can read about it. The fun thing is, the challenge is fun for yourself, but it's also fun to see what others are doing. Like, who's using a G5? Who's using a G3? Who's using OS 9? Who's using OS 10? And what are they doing with it? And sharing those stories. So, if you want to keep a log, by all means do so. Email it to one of us or share it on Discord, and we'll put it on our blog. So, for future years, you can read about it. But it's a fun challenge. I really enjoy doing it every year. The
second year, Jay. So
I do it every year, dude. It's not a Mac-Yak thing. It's a low-end Mac thing. So I'm looking forward to it. You got a week to set up. So as the website says, be prepared. Set up your email in advance because it can be a little tricky, especially with iCloud and two-factor authentication.
It's a good thing I already have my G5 set up for that. So.
Yeah, no. Once I ship all of Steve's crap out, I might have space to set up my G4 as well.
Maybe.
G4.
So yeah, starting the 16th, 1 week, PowerPC only, or as much as you can. So.
Yeah, one of the things.
One of the
things Jay's also said: don't rely on this for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Try to stay as much.
That's
I mean,
really
use it as you normally would, but don't use this as your main computer. You know what I'm saying?
This is my main computer, though. This is like,
It's
I
mine,
search
too.
stuff. I do everything on it except for the stuff I do on
We
my
saw
computer.
that last year. People trying to outsmart the rules or whatever their challenge was. Like, I use my phone, and that's not the point of the challenge. The challenge is for you, not for us. You make it as challenging as you want and have the most amount of fun with it. I don't give a crap what you
Here's
do.
the thing,
It's
too.
for you.
I posted a link in the chat to the very first day of last year's, the blogs that I was posting on macyak.com. And
I already put that.
did you?
Yeah.
No,
Dan
you
Baker.
put a different one in there. You put the 2020 challenge. I put the actual one from last year.
Which has links to all of the blogs from last
okay.
year.
Yeah, it's on the bottom.
Okay.
Dan says a week of 144p YouTube.
If you're lucky.
Actually, you'd be surprised. You can actually get up to around 720 or 1080 on a good
I had no problem
drive.
with that on my G4 iMac.
Yep.
But I actually used my iMac G4 for everything. The only reason I had to go back to my Intel was because FileMaker Pro was not compatible. Mm-hmm. And I run my whole shop on FileMaker Pro.
And I have to run my iRacing on an Intel Windows. So
You have to.
I have to.
Yeah.
Or you could just take a week break from it.
And of
No.
course, celebrating our use of PowerPC machines, there will be copious amounts of Unreal Tournament 99 play that week.
Yes.
99? We're not even going to do 04?
Speaking of which,
No.
Jay.
04 barely runs on most of these PowerPC.
No, it doesn't.
And I spoke to Blake Haynes. He runs the PowerPC Gaming Lounge server for UT99. He already restarted the server, double-checked everything, so it is ready to go. So, thank you, Blake.
Yeah.
He also has Quake on there too. He also hosts Quake.
Yeah, but that's Chris.
Is it Chris?
Yeah, Chris
Okay.
has Quake. Yeah.
I think the fastest PowerPC I've got that isn't in storage at the moment is a 1 gigahertz titanium PowerBook.
That'll
You can do a lot with it. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Makes me nervous though. This whole concept makes me very nervous. I'm shaking.
But Jay,
I've got my 1 gigahertz titanium upstairs, and I'll tell you what, if you do it on like the Classilla user agent, everything flies.
Yeah.
Okay.
1 gigahertz? Jeez, you're going to be fine.
Now, I will have to say, I'm going to plug in here for all those who are new to MacYak or aren't familiar with the old challenge. There is the Mount Olympus challenge, and we do have a section for the PowerPC, so please.
We're still doing that,
Electric.
Rocky?
It's an ongoing thing. It's an archival thing. It's a historical thing. We're trying to get
But we never did anything past like the first month on it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of dust
It's
in this
supposed to
chat.
just be an ongoing kind of people could add to it thing. That was the plan originally. So people can add to it now if they start using their PowerPCs. Throw those in the PowerPC section because somebody has to have a PowerPC that can run Geekbench that is slower than James's. I'm just saying.
I already did that.
You beat his in the slowest?
Yeah, my G3 Wall Street.
Is it in there? I don't remember.
I think so. I think so.
What's the CPU on the Wall Street, Greg?
It was a 266.
Oh, I'll do it on my Bondi Blue iMac, and I'll beat you. How about that?
Well, actually, I was thinking of whenever I can get my what is it? The whatever PowerBook I have with the 216 G3 in it.
All right, you go suffer then. Have fun.
But anyway, so we still do have the Mount Olympus challenge, and I think maybe I will start announcing some winners if we get some people actually like participating in it again. And then because we have everything from Intel all the way back to PowerPC. We don't go into 68K because one of our benchmark tools is the Geekbench.
Ooh.
We do not use Geekbench 5. We're still on Geekbench. Geek. God dang it. Geekbench 4.
All right, cut him off. He's had enough.
Sorry. No, I'm getting really tired.
No,
I've had a very long day.
I thought we were on Geekbench 2.
It depends on what you're running.
For the Intels, yes.
Oh, right.
And 2 for certain PowerPC models.
We could just run 2 on all of them.
Just run speedometer.
No, I'm not sure if 2 won't run on some of the newer Macs.
2 won't run on anything past Mojave.
Yeah.
It's all in the rules and info if you want to get up on it. So, yeah. So, but anyway, we do have certain, benchmark precedent, and we even use Haven benchmark, things like that. So we try to compare them, give everybody kind of an idea what's going on. And it's not just about being the fastest, but also what is the slowest you can actually do this on. It's kind of an achievement. It's like, hey, can you do this on?
Well, if I keep overclocking Grudy's CPU card, I might actually get slow enough to have a shot.
That's a good benchmark to hit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Like this
Well, if you
benchmark
overclock
scored.
at the 1.42, you might hit 500 megahertz.
Overclock it to 2 gigahertz and get a Geekbench score of 50 or something. That'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
We're just behind the scenes trying to decide what we're gonna skip and what we're not gonna skip.
Yeah, we're
This power.
Well, we could keep on going. My headache's finally gone away.
Good deal.
Justin, can you stick around for longer?
he's got no choice because when we have a guest on, they have to stay around till we end the show. That's
If I gotta stay, he has to stay.
yeah. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and on to our next topic, and then we could kind of wrap things up here soon. Man, we are like going way long here.
Oh, yeah.
That's what,
My clock doesn't chime at 10.
that's what happens when we have fun. All right, the last topic we had scheduled for tonight is FrankenMacs. Tell us about your best not hackintosh.
Yeah. And I'll start it off real quick because I have to step outside for a minute. The only thing I've ever done was put a Mac Mini, a 2012 Mac Mini, inside a G3 blue and white case with a few external hard drives and stuff. That's the only thing I really ever did.
Well, I've got a few.
Oh, well, yeah, we know you have a few there. Come on. Everything that Grudy owns is a FrankenMac.
Hey. Well, you guys know I did the sawtooth to blue and white case. And my future idea, I don't even know where the other is to cram one of these into a...
Upside down.
cram one of these into a G4 iMac, and in fact, I just bought the G4 iMac that I'm planning on cramming this into.
I want to see
So,
that.
I don't know. I'd actually kind of pay money to see that one.
yeah,
That
it's
actually-
gonna be, it's gonna be,
Which one is that? Which one is that, Greg?
well, it's actually not the one
That's
I'm
it.
cramming into it. I'm going to cram a
Oh.
mid 2011 into it probably.
Oh, okay. Your
Well,
i5
So
or
you
your
still have
i7?
CD drive.
Yeah, it's going to be an i5 2.3.
Does it
Okay.
have CD or no CD on that model?
No CD, but
There's on CD.
I think I can actually wire a SATA connector into the secondary drive port and have a full-sized optical drive. I've got to figure out a way to combine both the iMac and the regular mini power supplies together so it can power the LCD. And I've got to figure out how to wire the LCD into the HDMI connector.
Oh, wow.
That's
Okay.
probably
It
gonna be
sounds
the
like we're
hardest
going to have a
part
lot
right
of
there.
fun.
Oh, that's going to be a nightmare.
That'll
You
be a
could get
9
like
hour
an
stream.
HDMI to VGA adapter, and that might simplify it.
There
Well-
will be blood.
Once with the LDVS on the iMac G4 is it runs off a DVI signal, so you can convert it to DVI and then you convert it into HDMI from that. So
You just get a HDMI to DVI adapter and then hardwire into it, just solder it
yeah,
into
but you still gotta make the custom connector because the LDVS, of course,
Yeah.
isn't DVI. But yeah, it
Yeah.
should work. I just gotta figure out how, because I kind of want to still be able to use the HDMI in the back. I don't think it's going to be possible, but I'd like to try it. So
Can it run dual monitor is the question.
well, it's got yeah, you got DisplayPort too.
So you just run a DisplayPort to HDMI adapter, yeah, and then you could do that to have an HDMI out on the back.
Could
But
do
I
that,
wouldn't
too.
run that to your. I wouldn't run the DisplayPort to your LCD on that.
Yeah.
iMac G4. Just saying. Of course, we're spitballing this now here live on the show. Gee.
But I've got a lot of other weird FrankenMac designs that I have ideas for. But that's the biggest project I'm planning on doing soon. Any other of you guys?
One of the
I
things that I
keep
actually
mine
wanted
printed
to-
stock. I'm sorry, go on. No,
No, I
no.
was-
You, Bruce.
I was just going to say that one of the things that I find really interesting about it is that there are people that, sort of are selling stuff on eBay, case only, or people out looking, searching, say, wanting to buy a computer that's broken so they can pull it apart. And the thing is that certainly with some of the vintage Macs, the older Macs that sort of Steve and I work with, that people can get their nose really out of joint. I mean, the idea of someone saying, I'm going to take this computer, I'm going to pull all the guts out of it, I'm going to stick a Raspberry
people
Pi
get
in it or
offended.
something. Yeah, they get really upset about it, sort of, cutting the case to add some ports or something like that, doing those
Yeah,
sorts
that's
of...
why I always choose the broken machines to do it on.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously always the thing is that if you've got a computer that is completely busted and no one's sort of offering to repair it, then what's the issue?
Grudy usually busts them himself, so.
Hey, hey.
That's a different story. Yeah.
Ooh, valid point.
But I just think that's a really interesting thing that look, here's the thing: if you own it, it's your computer.
You do what you want
It's
with
yours.
it, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But of course,
Not according to Apple.
Well, yeah. But yeah, people really do get very upset about people making sort of irreversible modifications to sort of old cases and stuff like that.
Well,
which
I have a 1,1 case that's completely empty that I'm planning on one of these days. I'm going to probably make a not a FrankenMac, but a hackintosh with. So I'm going to
Read the banner, dude.
I said
Read
I'm
the banner.
planning on it. I said that's my goal with that one. But this, going by what Bruce just said, about taking an old case and putting something else in it,
Yeah.
Now,
I do have one FrankenMac planned that I'll touch on very briefly because I haven't worked it out yet. I'm going to put my MDD internals inside a Mac Pro or G5 case so that I can apply sufficient cooling when I go back to overclocking the machines.
Makes sense. Now, my experience, going a little bit off, I have not actually injected the internals of a different Mac into another case. What I have done, my personal FrankenMacs, are where I've taken the current Mac and I have modified the case heavily in the case of, for instance, my first one was a Quicksilver model, which has horrifically terrible cooling, which is the biggest problem that machine suffers from. And I modified heavily the case to change the cooling dynamics. And guess what? Mine is super reliable even with overclocking.
Oh yeah, because
So-
it only freezes every other day.
Mine does not freeze that bad.
Oh,
It
you
actually
complained about it freezing all the time.
No, I did not. It froze a whole like 2 or 3 times when I used to run it. I don't run it
so
anymore.
reliable.
Well, if I didn't overclock it, it would have been reliable. It was fine till I overclocked. I ran it for 5 years without overclocking it. But when I overclocked it, yeah, it's not the most reliable. But I'll give you that.
It was reliable.
It was reliable prior to overclocking it. So, but that, I mean, I did physical
3 hours
modification
later.
I cut it out and I mounted fans to places fans weren't originally mounted, stuff like that. So it's my FrankenMag because it is definitely not to Jony Ive spec, but it is definitely functional in a proper way.
Yeah,
What was that,
I haven't
Steve? 3 hours later, what? You lost your right to complain about how long anything takes. Yesterday.
I'm kidding. I love the discussion. I really haven't done any modifications like that yet, so we'll see if any of that turns up. I certainly have a lot of spare cases with no working parts inside, so maybe one day.
Do you need a Dremel to cut out the metal so you can modify your cases easily?
I have a Dremel somewhere.
All right, there you go. I was gonna say I'll send you one.
Justin, do you have any interesting?
The most bold I've gone is I have a PC 9700 Radeon in this G4 that I flashed with the Mac BIOS.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
No FrankenMacs or Hackintoshes.
Yeah.
Maybe at the beginning of the year, when we do the Power PC challenge, the end of the year, we should have the FrankenMac challenge.
See
I'm up
see
for
who could
that.
cram the weirdest Mac inside of another Mac.
Well, I kind of want to get another. I kind of want to get another 2014 Mini and then have a more modern Mac to cram into that iMac.
I've always wanted to put a Mini inside a Cube.
Yeah, I've seen that done.
It's been done many times, though, Jack.
Not by me.
It's true.
They used to make those special cases. You could take the G3 iMac and shove it into this rack mount case and turn it into a regular computer.
I remember that.
I think they need to bring that back. Let's have some iMacs in a decently cooled box that you can plug an external monitor into. I'm on board.
Just get a bunch of wood, make your own box, and shove the parts in there.
Hey, then you could look like the original Apple One, right?
Yeah.
Also, we haven't seen timber in computers for a while, have we?
Yes. Let's bring it back, Bruce. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, with the advent
G3 2x4.
Well, with the advent of 3D,
That's when I need another thing to make me bleed during a stream.
but with the advent of 3D printers, I mean, you could probably print your own damn case. I mean, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Valid point. But you would still need metal to properly ground the components. That's one thing people always get wrong.
Oh, dysfunctional wombat. That story. Destroyed a mint perfectly working 20th anniversary Macintosh to put a G4 Mac Mini in it. That is disgusting.
Yeah, that's
I can see the discomfort.
See, even Bruce doesn't like that idea.
Well, look, as I said, at the end of the day, it's your computer. You can do anything you want with it if you paid for it and everything. But you just have to look at the resale value of the TAMs these days. I mean,
don't sin against
you're just throwing money away by doing it.
Yeah, but remember, 15 years ago, they were totally worthless.
But okay, like I just mentioned in the chat, taking a 1,1 and gutting it out is a lot different because a 1,1 is worthless pretty much. It's almost like a G5 pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might be worth something in the future though, because they might be rare.
No, they're not. They're not.
There's way too many of them around.
There's so many of them.
As much as they get dinged up with shipping, they might become.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
See, I turned a PowerBook 540C into a digital photo frame ages ago, and I'm sort of ripped it
nice.
apart. Built a little timber frame to put the LCD and everything, and
Nice active matrix display on that.
yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, gorgeous. And look, and I did it because I got 3 of them for really, really cheap, and they were worth nothing. But of course now PowerBook 540Cs are going for a fortune on eBay. I gave the other 2 away, wasn't I, an idiot?
Yeah.
But
Ouch.
I mean, at the time I did it, I look back now and I think, what did you do that for?
Well, I
But
mean,
at
you
the
could
time,
be
they were
like
worth nothing.
Ken and just kind of recycle your Duo docks.
No, let's not talk about that. That's too hard memories.
He's
We'll be here
still
all night.
bringing that up almost every day he talks to me.
I should just start sending you pictures of my duos. You'll block them pretty quick.
Yeah, you will. All right, so we're getting real past our time here, so let me go ahead and we're going to do one more thing. And Mike, it looks like you already have something out for us, so we're going to let you talk about what you got sitting behind you there.
So Jay sent me a piece of crap today. I wanted to show it to you. This has been sitting in Jay's basement for about 2 years.
Hasn't been that long. I remember when you got it. It's only.
I don't know. It seems like it is.
It seems
Oh
like
no, I haven't. I have 2 of these. So anyway, the worst power book to try to keep running nowadays, the good old 100 series.
Oh, yeah.
This one's a 160. I also have a 165, which was the successor. So I don't know if my camera is going to.
It's really.
It just looks
White.
white.
All I see is a white.
Yeah,
the screen is just.
My camera.
Well, the screen is.
This camera sucks.
The screen is washing out.
The screen sucks anyway. It's not. Jay could probably show you pictures. It's horrible. I have 2 of these machines now, and neither one of them have good displays. I don't know if it's capacitor problems or what, but Jay picked this up for me. It was not working, and found out that the power adapter was bad and the battery was shorted.
Ooh,
As soon as I took the battery out, it booted right up.
nice.
That's what happens to my duo. Yeah.
Yeah, I got this. I got this at the recycler. It was in a briefcase with the power adapter and custom insert to keep it all in place. We tried to power it on that night. It was dead, and I have no power supplies or any equipment from that era to test it with. So that was it.
Good one to have, though. Nice little collector's piece.
Yeah, these are actually. I wish I could find a color one, but I've never actually owned a color one of these. I've owned several black and white ones, but I've never had an actual color PowerBook 100 series. This one here actually still has the plastic cover on the back too, which is very unusual because the power button is behind here. So this gets opened and closed a lot. So my other one's broken off. But actually, because of the case this thing was actually in pristine condition, except for some notes that were taped on the wrist rest. The trackball actually works perfectly on it.
Nice.
It does work. It actually works fine. It's got an 80 meg hard drive and 4 megs of RAM. So it hasn't been upgraded like my other one. My other one's got 8 megs of RAM and 160 meg hard drive. But
Let's see.
just anybody who wants to get into some of these old power books, just be warned. These things are very finicky. And I'd almost guarantee you if you find any, the screens are going to be shot. The screens that they used on the black and white models were very poor quality to begin with. They were all mostly passive matrix, so they suck it anyway. But they don't age well. However, the plastic, surprisingly, on these models, which I can't say for the 500 series, the plastics on these models actually hold up exceptionally well to old age. The duos are...
Sorry, go ahead.
Is there what? No,
Is there
I was going to say the duos.
an easy mod you can do to put a newer LCD in there? Or
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far yet. I don't think there is because the technology that this uses has been dead for 25 years.
Now, my question on the display is the most common failure point the light tubes that are built into the fluorescence, or is it the actual display itself?
Actually, the backlights, I've actually never seen one with a bad backlight.
Oh, okay.
Which is actually surprised. I mean, for being 25 years old, I'm surprised. That I would think that would be the first thing that would go, but actually, it just. I could show you guys pictures later.
I think the plastic oxidizes in them or something.
Yeah. I have PowerBook 180 with sort of like tunnel vision, where the corners just get black and black and black, and it's pretty unusable, unfortunately.
Yeah, they do have they have a lot of problems with them delaminating over the years, and the layers actually start separating. It's just, you know, LCD technology. I mean, everybody has an LCD TV, LCD monitors. I mean, our stereos are all LCD. You know, LCD technology has really changed a lot in 30 years. And you figured these were some of the first mass-produced laptops to use the LCD screen with the original portables. You know, I wouldn't call that a laptop, but at least it ran on a battery. And those screens were known for being pretty horrible too. So if you ever find one, pick it up, because they're usually dirt cheap, because the screens are usually shot on them.
And then sell them to Mike.
I can't remember what I paid Jay for this one, but the 165 that I have, I gave $25 for here locally, and it worked fine. The screen is usable, but the contrast is totally shot, and it's got real bad ghosting issues, and that's just the passive matrix design. So,
Bummer.
All right.
Did we lose him?
I think we're losing Mike. His.
The one thing is you can't use an external monitor.
Okay, we're losing Mike.
Yeah.
What?
You're like.
Luke?
Yes.
Is your microwave on?
No.
Because.
Yeah, we're losing
Nobody's
you.
home. I'm being a cat. Okay.
All right. Who?
I'm done.
All right.
We got that.
Yeah, we got that part. All right, guys. So we're gonna start wrapping this up, but before we wrap it up, we're gonna do some shameless self-promotion. So we'll go.
I do want to say though, before we go into shameless self-promotion,
Okay.
thank you, Justin, for being with us through the
Yes,
entire
thank you,
long
Justin.
stream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw you doze off a few times, but you held up well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and next time I will remember that my clock is very timely in chiming.
Yes.
Yes, but I also blame you for us going over, because I didn't hear the last chime, so I had no idea we'd gone over 2 hours.
Valid point.
Oh.
My clock stopped chiming at 10.
This actually is not the longest show we've ever done. So I mean,
Don't jinx
Yeah.
it, buddy.
I mean, we can still add an hour to it.
no. Shh. Jay,
Oh, sleep.
I'm gonna come over to Ohio,
could.
and I'm gonna drive to Ohio tonight and slap you.
Oh, come on. Let's
All right,
put
then
it together.
pick up some of Steve's stuff and drop it off.
All right. Anyways, I figured we'd just go around the horn here in the order that we are pictured in there. Myself, I don't have anything planned yet, but I've got a lot of new goodies. I have a G4 that I'm planning on putting Mac OS 9.2.2 lives on it. I'm going to play around with that, maybe do a video on that. I also have a new cinema display. I might do a video on that. A couple of new things that I have, so I will definitely be trying to get some more videos out. I haven't done a video in a long time, so I'm due. So look for Mac Attack to have some new videos coming soon. All right, Jay, you're up next.
Oh, right. I have a few projects going on. I just put a new fan on a Blackmagic capture card that I'm trying to get working again. I have, let's see, where is it? What? It was just here. It's gone now. Oh no, here it is. A EEPROM programmer, so I can take the firmware password off my 2012
Jay,
13-inch
what
MacBook
operating
Pro.
system do you need for that?
I don't know. I'm not worried about it right now.
Oh, he's not admitting it on stream.
I got this UV USB light.
No. Let's go back to the other one.
And shut up.
I want to hear what operating system Jay has to use.
And I got some solder mask coming in the mail. Probably Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to be experimenting with some solder mask because I see Bruce use it all the time, and I never do. So I figured, let me see if that's something for me.
Are you talking about for
I
reballing or?
No. When you do a trace repair or something, you can put some solder mask over it to strengthen it and to prevent oxidation and stuff like that.
That's right. Okay.
That green part of the motherboard that you see on there.
So I
there are
ordered
other things, but
I ordered the
solder
black
mask is
version
quick.
because all the boards I work on are black. So see how it looks. If anything, it'll make my repairs prettier. And finally, I have Steve's Xserve power supply that I need to recap, which I can now finally do properly because I have all the right solder tips.
Yay!
The last one I did for Nick was kind of a mess because the solder tip I used was not big enough. So that's it. And of course, I'll be setting up my my G4 for the Power PC Challenge, and I'll be blogging about that as well.
Okay, Grudy, you're up.
Sorry, one more thing.
Sorry.
I'll set up a channel in on Discord, Power PC Challenge channel. So if anyone needs help setting stuff up or looking for specific software, we can put it in there.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, Grudy.
All right, so we're streaming off of this right now for me. This is my 2014 Mini.
That's the first time. And how long have you used a Mac for Mac Yak?
Probably about a year.
Hey, he's not the only one.
Oh boy.
Well, actually, come to think of it, I used to use my MacBook Pro, so it's been about half a year.
But Rocky, you're using a Mac hardware, but using Windows, correct?
Up until tonight, yes.
Anyway,
Tonight it is a Mac with Mac OS.
Ah, okay.
I'm going to start a small mini series on the aluminum Mac Minis and doing a bunch of experiments. Like my last live stream, I showed you guys my eGPU I built. It's got an RX 580 in it.
But you need to say aluminum like Bruce says it.
Aluminium.
Just have a voice.
I knew what you were talking
saying
about.
that every time.
But anyway, I actually just got in the mail an NVMe drive for this Mac Mini and an adapter for it because you can change out the factory. This actually doesn't even have an SSD. It's just a 5400 RPM spinner. Very painfully slow. I got the adapter so you don't have to use the Apple one. I can use a PC NVMe drive, and that's going to be the first episode of that mini-series. In fact, it's going to be a mini-series. I call it a mini-series because it's only going to be one season. I'm not going to be going any past that. But it's going to be a pretty active series, probably, for a while, because these things are really, really dirt cheap now on eBay. They're an affordable way to get into the Mac
Ecosystem.
the Mac world. Yes, I still have a lot of medicine in me. I'm not thinking very clearly.
No, that's just the
Ecosphere.
way you are.
Yeah.
Ecosphere. What's that?
We love you, Gertie. Fine.
But anyway, so I'm going to be doing that, and I've got a bunch of other things. I'm also releasing I filmed a video yesterday, which is already up for Patreons, and it will be out for everyone else tomorrow, where I got an iPod Hi-Fi and I demonstrate it. And one other thing that I got in the mail, which I'll just spoil it now, brand new in-box HP iPod, identical to the one that was my very first iPod. I'll be doing an unboxing and showing that off in a few episodes from now. If not by this weekend, you might be seeing that video. So I got a lot of things in the pipe. Oh, and also I finished filming my video for Ken, and probably be seeing that video on his channel in the next month or so. So.
Who?
Ken.
All right. We're gonna have to cut Rudy off here. He's gone long-winded. So.
That's about 20 minutes there, buddy.
All right, Rocky, you're up next.
Well, first of all, the sentence that Jay didn't want to say is he has to have Windows. But okay, so getting back on topic, then unfortunately, I won't have a video coming out soon because I'm very busy with work.
Oh,
Which, by
that's
the
the new
way,
excuse. Okay.
well, the reason that I'm in macOS is I'm in Final Cut Pro as we're on the show, and I've got our Duo security video in Final Cut Pro that I'm making for work tonight. So that's fun.
So you're doing Mac
nothing
Yak on
like-
the work clock, huh? Yeah, we see how that is.
Hey, you're just mad because you can't do it. If you haven't noticed, I haven't really touched my mouse that much, you know. So I'm not really doing it on the work clock. I'm actually more honest in that. I do work for a nonprofit, so I try to be honest. But no, I unfortunately probably don't have anything coming down the video pipe until I get the parts to take my 4,1 to its final iteration and eventually move from my 3,1 to my 4,1, which is already pre-flashed to a 5,1. So I got lucky there.
It's a lot of comma ones there.
I know.
Basically, you're on a 5,1.
better
So
than 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And I'm looking forward to moving to the 3 gigahertz processor that can, bump up to 3.4 with, 12 cores and 24 threads and 32 gigs of RAM. It's going to be a nice upgrade. So,
Cool.
and my daughter's looking forward to inheriting my 3,1 so she can play her games that she wants to play. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. So anyway, that's on my pipe for at least the next week.
okay. All right, Mike, what you got going on?
Moving.
Still moving, huh?
No, I'm moving this weekend.
Okay.
So I have until the 17th to get everything out of where I'm at. So with any luck, somebody's going to come and help me, and maybe we'll take some pictures, maybe short little videos. Yeah, he's short, fat, and bald like me. So with any luck, it won't take 8 hours to move an iMac from where it's at now 500 feet to where it's going to be. So,
Yeah, it's pretty
We'll see.
convenient. It's next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually,
And we're losing Mike again.
we're
Oh no!
I think Mike's internet is like, it's been 2 hours, dude.
I quit now.
Sorry, Mike.
Sorry, Mike. Steve, you're next. Yeah.
So I just did that recapping fun. My soldering iron is supposed to come as early as Saturday, so maybe sometime this weekend there'll be another 7 hours.
Get the next one down to 7 hours. Yeah. That's fine.
So I have to talk to you guys offline about the tips for that, and maybe if it comes with what I need or not. But anyway, there's a video I want to do about the Macintosh 2020 year bug type thing. There's a little app for that that's pretty cool about setting your clock on classic Mac OSs, and have some other videos that I'm working on that hopefully will be out soon. But that's about
The
it.
what? bug?
Turnaround time is better or worse than your last iMac video?
I'm not making any promises for anything.
Smart.
By the way, Steve, where's that clone video?
Yeah, shut up.
All right.
It's a lot on my plate.
All right, Bruce, you're up next.
Okay, so I've got a video that I'm putting the finishing touches on at the moment, and I would just like to say that I recorded this video before the 8-hour recapping. Okay, I think it's important to mention this when I tell you what this video is about. It's a light-hearted video. It's a bit of fun, and it's me trying to do a recapping as fast as I can.
Oh,
So it's a recapping video.
Stab me in my heart. Oh.
I'm calling. Is this the fastest recapping in the world? And I'm opening it up to people to if they want to, sort of do a video of trying to recap faster, then that's fine. But as I say, it's done as a lighthearted thing, and that'll be coming out in the next few
are you
days.
putting it at like 10 times speed? So it goes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, it's it runs me actually doing the job. I'm doing it about eight times speed. So yeah, it's not going to be something that you sort of literally.
And so at
sit
the
there
end, Bruce, there'll just be a picture of me crying, and then just and my time. Just that.
Yeah,
That's
I was thinking it might actually be a bit insensitive of me to mention that.
Or
tonight,
he
but
could
I
go,
mean,
it bonged, it bonged.
So that's coming. I mean, I've got lots in the pipeline, mainly because I've just got so many recapping jobs here at the moment. So I'm just going to be doing those. And Jay, that cleaning video of the microscope, it's coming, but it's just
blah blah.
I know that one will have an audience of one. I'm just aiming for larger audiences at the moment.
All right.
Yeah, and those of you who haven't subscribed to Bruce's channel because he didn't mention.
Yes.
Shame on you. Yep.
Yep. The fact that he's going to be.
Is it in the description?
Well, hopefully it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah. If it's been in the past, it's there because I just copy and paste it from the past. So.
All right.
And we got Justin.
Justin, do you have a blog, a website, a YouTube channel, anything going on?
Actually, I do have a blog. I call it Computerized Start. You'll have to read my blog to see why I named it that. But it's available on my domain, jdmcs.com.
Put that in the
Okay, you put that in the chat?
I will put that in the chat.
Yeah.
Like probably now before I forget.
Good idea.
And I can't type in...
That's really good. You and Jay have that in common. You both do regular
and
blog.
Talk. Oh, yeah, and I did have a PSA, probably because you couldn't see exactly what my mug said, but computing rule number 5, computers run on magic smoke. Don't let it out.
Yeah. I like
Be nice to your vintage computers and recap them.
Yes.
I love that cup.
Wait, did you put the link in? Where did you put the link?
Oh, the YouTube chat.
I don't see it either.
Yeah, it didn't pop up.
Did you hit enter?
YouTube thinks I hit enter.
Yeah. Oh, I think I know why. Because top chat. It defaults to top chat.
Yeah, if you do live chat, it's not there.
I have live chat on.
Yeah, it's not there.
Oh.
Just send it again.
Actually, just send the link in iChat and I mean iMessage. iChat. Wow. iMessage and we'll copy.
Yeah, let me boot up my copy of Jaguar there, Grudy, and I'll.
Well, you can't use it anymore, Steve. One of your
you could
resolutions was to cancel your AOL account.
Or you should know this. You could run your own iChat server.
I know. I do that with Adium.
There you go.
All right, guys. So I think that about wraps up our show tonight. So I appreciate everybody for joining us. And Grudy will post that as soon as he gets it in there. But if you want, we do have a Discord channel. Ignore that Discord link.
Yes.
Which one was there something wrong with the one
yes.
you put on?
Okay. The one I posted is the new one. It's the new permanent one because the one that you have now, Rocky, is expired. Because Justin.
How did it expire? I said
Justin tried.
Never expired.
I know Justin tried to use that link and it did not work. He says it expired.
Oh well, then fix it on your
it's supposed to never expire. That's
well, it did anyway, but we're good.
You can count on a test engineer to break anything.
Yes.
And I mean anything.
True.
So, anyways,
you're not wrong.
I put the new link up there. So did Jay. That's our new Discord link. So we're gonna have to fix the overlays there, Jay, for next time.
I'll do it live.
No, that's the reason why we posted it in the chat. That's live. But anyways, come hang out with us after the show. I am probably not going to be there tonight. I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm not going to be either. I need to go to bed.
But we have a lot of good discussions there. We have a lot of good channels. The Discord actually is growing day by day. Rocky is our main owner of the Discord. So we all here are moderators, minus Justin, of course, but
admin, but
admin. Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Is Bruce an admin already?
I don't know.
No,
I don't remember.
No, not yet.
We're not making Bruce an
Modern.
admin.
No, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. The power will go to my head.
And a little fun fact: after last week's show, which was admittedly pretty damn slow because we were all half asleep, we went into Discord chat and it just started rolling, and we came up with pretty much all the topics for tonight on Discord last week. So that shows you how much.
Speaking of which, there is a channel in there that says weekly topics. So if you guys out there watching come up with or something you think could be a good topic, post it in there, and we discuss
and
it.
I also just added the Power PC Challenge channel.
So
Saw that.
we discuss stuff among ourselves during the week, and we come up with these topics on a. It's on Pages. That's what we use for this. So we actually use Mac software to use it. So
Yeah, just not to have the phone call anymore.
well, we actually did do a FaceTime just recently, group FaceTime.
We did?
Yeah, well, we had a bunch of us on there.
Yeah, we never recorded.
Didn't record it or
Oh,
anything,
right.
I mean, we haven't used group FaceTime in like forever.
And actually, the other day, 2 days ago when you tried to call us, it failed.
Yes, it did. So
So
group FaceTime is pretty not
Still reliable.
Yeah, it's not reliable. So that's the reason why we use Skype now, because Skype actually is better. You don't get nauseated by watching us bounce around. So, and I have more control of Skype than I did of there's Jay trying to move around, but he's inside his box. His box ain't moving.
right, can't get out.
It's like, let me out. Here's my box. Hey.
All right, we got to wrap it up because when it starts going this way,
Yeah. All right, guys.
we got to
So
move it to Discord.
make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you comment if you want to see more good comments on our content on here.
I do want to see more good comments.
Yes, we do want to see more good comments. But we want to see those thumbs up. So hit that like button. I only got 15 likes tonight. So
I know. It's a
and we were up to
disgrace.
21 viewers, I think, at one time. So
Oh, who just hit the thumbs down?
oh, somebody. Oh,
Gonna find you and ban you.
yes. So, anyways, guys.
Hey, a
Oh.
dislike is
I wish you
equal to
would.
a like on YouTube, so it's fine.
Oh, okay.
It's still a like.
Yeah.
Works for me then.
So, anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed tonight. I think we had a lot of fun tonight because we actually had a lot of stuff to talk about. I don't think we got to everything we wanted to talk about tonight.
Oh no, we didn't.
But make sure you subscribe to us, and we'll be here next week.
And we'll see you on Discord. And
See ya.
thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. See everybody
Frank
later,
and Log.
and you guys have a good night.
See you guys.
And we're off.